Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is going to be a doozy. I'm going to be going over basically everything for a new audience that may be coming in that is not familiar with the Thorps. I've been following them for years now. I've met both of them, and I've been A-logging and going over their content and basically dissecting every disturbing thing that they've done for the past year. And I just wanted to introduce a new updated synopsis beyond the Shamu documentary. So first, if anybody watching right now has not seen the Shamu documentary, I want you to go and watch this. Okay? It's long. It's very long and it's old. But this is going to give you, there's two parts to it, a perfect synopsis of the emotional and physical abuse that goes on with these people. But there's been a lot. It was posted a year ago, as you can see. But I'll give you a quick little overview if you haven't seen that yet. They started, I also have some guests in the backstage. We have a lot on the agenda today, but I'll just give you a quick synopsis here. Basically, they started as Ben was trying to do, let's go to videos. He was trying to do debates and stuff. He basically gave up his entire career as he had been fired from every job that he had. And he decided to platform his entire family on YouTube because he was doing these debates, even with people like Andrew Wilson, but it just wasn't getting the viewership that he wanted. And when he experimented with bringing his family on and showing their extremely toxic dynamic, which I don't even think they were aware of, that's when they started garnering more of an audience, as you can see. This is a stream with Grace and her mom. It's the oldest stream that's still public on Ben's channel. And then it basically became a duo between Ben and Grace, of them arguing with their family until the mom ended up getting a divorce and restraining order against Ben. And by proxy, she doesn't have a restraining order against Grace, but barely allows Grace to ever see the kids, because if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, you could see that Ben is kind of the little devil on her shoulder. And I am not exaggerating when I say that Grace is Ben and Ben is Grace. So we're going to be going over a little bit more to show specific examples of the abuse that has occurred, the testimony of the son, and some sagas that have happened since then. And then we'll be going on to talk about all of the bridges that they've burned and all of the creepy stuff that they've said about children and incest. And then we'll be reviewing their response to the interview I did with their old neighbor, as well as the Fresh and Fit scam that went down or was revealed today. Please hit the like button. We have XP and Gnome here if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
What up, everybody? Long-term Eva watcher, long-term Thorp hater here. So good to see y'all.
Thanks for joining.
Hey, what's going on, guys? XP, if you're here already, you know me. If you're watching later, you'll find out when you watch the edit. That's it.
Yeah.
Folks belong in jail. Not all of them, but Ben and Grace. The rest of the family's cool as hell, but Ben and Grace belong in prison.
Yeah.
That's my intro. Back to you.
All right. So let's just get right into it. We're getting a cliff notes on the Thorpverse. Yes, exactly. I strongly urge everybody to go and watch the Shamu documentary. But beyond that, let me show you. This is on my channel. We're just going to get straight into the worst. Here is a quick, honestly, So first, I'm going to show you the domestic violence that has happened on stream. And basically just make the case that this isn't fake, this isn't exaggerated, and Keemstar should not be platforming this. But also, they've talked a lot of smack about Keemstar, and I don't know if how I'll feel about that, but more so because I know that he really doesn't give a fuck about people's past, like Boogie and people like them. I guess he has like some assault allegations and stuff, but I will say that this is even worse. So, and if you bring Grace on, you're going to be getting Ben too, who is the true perpetrator behind all of this. So I'm just going to play this video.
Sized compilation of Ben Thorp's abusive behavior that he himself has uploaded on live stream or made public to the internet. Some of it is old, but lots of it is new and stuff that hasn't been featured in the Shamu documentaries that most people have seen. So I thought I would do a little compilation for anybody who's new. If you're just finding my channel, I direct you to go to the description. But there are a few instances.
You just told, I was forget it. Forget it. Messaging him to see.
More obstructing something that I need to touch.
This one is him kicking his son, who is on crutches and has a broken leg or some kind of knee injury at the time.
You have to call the police. I want you to call the police. Call it. Call them. Do this stuff. Call the police. Buddy.
Do that again.
Call the police.
You look like you're going to cry, and then you hold back because you're so afraid of Daddy doing something to you, right?
No, that's literally not why.
This next segment will be direct admissions from Ben describing, often in painful, incriminating detail, abuse and or violence he inflicted upon people, including myself. The following clip will be Ben describing when he yanks my hair very hard without consent to quote-unquote pair bond or whatever he's describing. Is really weird.
Ava arrived at Logan Airport this morning at like noon. And, we picked her up at the train station, and, it's this fucking nonsense. I tried to assert dominance over Ava, who needs it. And she, she plays the princess. Who's Ava?
That's me. I'm Ava. This is my channel.
Each other so that we can establish some intimacy. I pulled her hair and I told her to hit me, and she goes, "Oh, well, I wouldn't do that." Well, my point was that you have to initiate, something that's a little bit less than, totally bourgeois, like, hey, you're my guest, you run that. I mean, you understand it's emasculating for most men when there's their daughter's guest is going to come over. It's like, oh my gosh, you're a princess and I don't have a dick and whatever, all this stuff, right? Like, so I was like, let's just pop the cherry quick here and have a little bit of sort of mutual minor pain causing together so we can get beyond this nonsense. So I said, let's do this. And then I just pulled her hair, and I said, okay, so this is what I'm talking about. I just pulled her hair reasonably hard, and I was like, okay, so now it's your turn with me. You just pulled her hair reasonably hard, and I was like, okay, so now it's your turn with me. You punch me or whatever. And she refused to do so. It's
so you were trying to teach a lesson to her by pulling.
No, I was just trying to say, let's pop the cherry on I'm not going to touch you because you're a princess, and you're not going to touch me because I'm a scary man with a penis. Let's just not do that. We're not going to do that. I had to correct Grace today, very roughly by
Oh, really? You gave Honey Bunch a real through, yeah.
Oh, she goes so
Honey Bunch.
She gets it from your mother. Right?
Like open-handed smack her, is what you're saying, right?
I knocked her glasses off.
Yeah, open-handed smack. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's not something which people should lose. The idea, I mean, it's back to this. It's back to this. If
These next two clips are just going to be Ben being creepy towards Grace. One of them is an actual clip of it. The next is an admission of a FaceTime call where he demands that she strips in the woods for him when she's in a scary situation. There's also a beer bottle incident. I couldn't find a clip of Ben talking about it, but it's definitely out there somewhere. Someone could go on a panel and ask him about it. It's basically when he made Grace suck a beer bottle between his legs in front of their mother, Grace's mother.
She went outside, and I was angry. And one of the ways in which, men show anger towards women is by having them sort of humiliate themselves. So I did have her sort of humiliate herself for me outside on a FaceTime call. So she had this sort of this was become in her mind sort of half of a psychosexual sort of serial killer situation, right? There's a certain part of them that wants to be dominated. They like it when it gets a little hot.
This is your daughter, right?
I understand that. Yeah. I understand it's my daughter. Okay.
And how did she humiliate herself?
She kind of played out some of those things. Nothing crazy. Nothing that I would
like what?
see in the course of, I don't remember exactly what, but like, you know, she took some of her blouse off outside in a kind of scary situation. That's it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Oh, she took some of her blouse off outside in a kind of scary situation. That's it. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Now, I will also include some clips of Grace being abusive to her mother. Not to say that Ben didn't teach and normalize these horrific behaviors to Grace, but she's still an adult when she did these, so I'll add them in as well, just so it's all in one place.
And you didn't know? No, that's a lie. Okay. That is a damn lie. You didn't know Joey was right there behind you? No, I can't see him. Look at the screen. Turn your head around. He's right there. You saw him. Hollywood Ben Thorp. It's just like, it's cunning. Ow. Oh, bitch. Get up. My screen. Okay. That was... I think it's pretty plain and simple. We gave all we could. It's time away to drive in the window. Living this like we shouldn't say we're good. We're not meant to be like sleeping and cocaine. So why not we to go our separate ways?
Finally, I think this video that I'm about to show you is worthy to add at the end. It is not direct evidence of Ben being abusive, but it is his son making an accusation against him.
And I'm actually going to play the full clip of this, of his son's accusations, because it's just a snippet in that video. So here we go. Let me make sure the audio is good. Okay. Here we go. This is John, Ben's son, Grace's full brother. They grew up together. He's the second oldest.
Okay, now that she's gone, I wanted to tell you guys that as her brother, I know that everybody's always questioning whether the allegations are true, even though it's pretty clear to most people who aren't idiots what the reality of the situation is. But my father has sexually groomed my sister, and they have sex all the time. She gives him blowjobs all the time. And they're currently together, even though there's a no contact order in place. So if anybody knows where they are or any information like that, please let somebody, or just call the police, because they're not supposed to be together. For reasons that make sense, like one of them is that he kicked her on stream, and he's molested her many different ways. He's physically abusive person. He's terrible. I find him just a repulsive man. I'm ashamed that he's my father. And it's a burden to be his son. Living life after Ben Thorp is difficult. Living life as a, just, you know, having him as your father is a really difficult struggle. So I hope that Grace can get out of it, but I've already gotten out of it, but it's still just an endless struggle.
So yeah, just so you guys know too, the restraining, or not the restraining, the no contact order that he's talking about here, that's not in place anymore, but that was from the kick that happened on stream that was shown earlier. Now I'm gonna show you some of the emotional abuse, and this is kind of how they got their more attention online. I don't know, like during this arc is when they had another growth spurt. So, and this is what people were watching for, unfortunately.
It's just a train wreck. People can't look away from it. 99% of their viewers come from just people just shocked that this is actually happening and these people are actually streaming it.
Yeah.
They don't really have any actual fans. Like 1% of the audience enjoys it and sends money, and that's what keeps them alive. And that's why we try to warn new people, because the other way they get money is new people constantly come in and don't really know the backstory, and they get tricked by the acting they put on. That's why they deleted most of their old videos. So we're trying to show stuff, because other than new people, only 1% of people on the planet, less than that, would even support these fucking monsters.
Yeah. And I do want to bring up a chat, and then Gnome, I saw you unmuted. So, but I do want to bring up a chat from Hans Guru. We're still missing some good stories. So yeah, there was another incident, and there's many of us that heard this in VC. I just couldn't find the recording, so I didn't include it. But there was also a window incident with Grace's friend when they were in high school, where Ben, he saw Grace and her friend in bikinis, and Grace also, she dropped out either sophomore or junior year of high school. So I don't know how these people, either of them, would be of age during this time. She's hanging out with her high school friend, but maybe it's after she dropped out. But I don't know. So he started masturbating outside the window to them, and then he told his family about it. So he told Courtney and Grace about it and thought it was like a funny story. Go ahead, Noam.
Yeah, I think one of the important things is that people watching this are going to see, Ben's abuse and say, it's fine, I can save Grace. You cannot save Grace. Do not come into this stream and think I can save Grace, because that's how they got 90% of their fans, are people or simps who think that they can save Grace. Grace is 90% Ben at this point.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to go into in the rest of this stream that might be able to convince you of this, but she is charismatic. She does have her moments, and I can understand why people are like, this poor dear. It's not quite like that. There's definitely a poor Grace aspect to it, but you can't save her, man.
Yeah. I was there. I was, I tried to help
Absolute
for
facts.
like a year. Just it doesn't work. Ben will try and butt in on the show. Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is just more so for the new fans that are coming in. Like, it's if I had to place bets on it, I don't think it's going to last, because yeah, Ben is going to try and butt in, and he's also, in my non-educated opinion, a narcissist. So yeah, he's not going to be able to handle not having the spotlight on him, because that was the whole arc they were previously trying to do, is that, oh, Ben wants to be the one in the spotlight again, but the streams were only getting like 80 viewers max when Ben was leading it. So it's Grace that people like more, and that is somehow less problematic, but her and Ben, it's the fact that they are tied at the hip.
And that's kind of why it's so dangerous right now that she might be getting platformed on something like LOLCOW and why we're trying to draw attention to this now, because the thing that's held her back, she's really a dangerous person. Like Noam was saying, she really is no different than her father at this point. She's so brainwashed by him after so many years. And so if she ever escaped, he's held her back, her back their entire time. She would have been a millionaire retired by now if Ben wasn't there on camera trying to like just be his schizo self freaking out all day long.
Yeah, I would like
to. She does have the ability to stream, So like if we need to warn the new people who don't know this history now, because if she escapes him and starts getting popular on her own, they've talked, and we'll get more into this later, but they've talked about how a lot about kids, as you'll come to learn through the stream. They have weird obsessions with kids in very inappropriate ways. And one of the things they've said constantly and repeatedly is that they want to be the next Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And even if there's sick people in the world that think this way, and there certainly are, most of them know not to come out and fucking say it in public. And the fact that they're this bold and emblazoned, like, if he weren't there, she could be so much more dangerous. So that's why we're trying to let people know now is the point there.
I want to draw attention to this stream from the All for Nothing Analysis channel, another great channel to check out that basically exclusively talks about the Thorps. And I loved this stream that they did, Women Who Will Do Anything for Men, What is Grace Thorp Capable of? And they basically compare women that, were in romantic relationships and ended up doing immoral things that got them sent to jail because of the manipulative man that they were with. But yeah, like this will only make their current position stronger, entertaining lolcows. Yeah, I mean, I just want to warn new people that are coming in. Like, I can't control whether or not they're on the show. I just want people to know how serious this is. If people think that that's a lolcow thing, like I think it's more of a horror cow thing, but it's up to you guys to decide. We're just gonna show you the proof. So let's go on to just a few instances of emotional abuse here.
Can you open that goddamn blind?
I'd have to like tie it up and everything.
It's not that hard. Fuck this. Help me out, bitch. Does this fucking thing need to be here? Can we get this work area cleared?
Mm-hmm.
Just pull on things really hard.
I only pulled on a little bit.
What the fuck? All right, well, let's just take the whole thing. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the right?
Right.
You always do that. No matter what I'm doing, you drop something.
Can we even actually physically get the left?
Grace, you gotta hold the nut.
Oh.
You've got to hold the nut.
Sorry.
What happens between when I say something and when you? Is that just called processing time?
Yeah. Would you put this? Okay, service records go in here, but where would you put the warranty for the battery? I mean, we don't need it anymore because.
Grace. No, give me that folder.
Oh, okay.
So you're definitely in victim mode. I can see it. You're not calm. You're agitated.
Yeah, that's true.
Here, can you take this off?
So yeah, this is just
They used to spend hours and hours and hours every day reading this insanity.
Yeah.
All right, let's just go over the channel.
All the moments to
Testing.
Are you actually live now?
Hi, Danny. Yeah, we're live.
When do you want to tell me that?
I said we're live.
I don't remember hearing that.
Oh, I definitely said that.
Okay.
All right, I just need to see if this is working. Test. Is it picking up? Is it low, high? Test.
Don't you want to test mine too?
Is it picking up? If one of them, the audios are merged, so they should both be working. I'm just seeing if
Okay, so
literally
you don't want
this.
to test both of them. Okay, that's fine.
You know, you're being like a bitch for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to set up the audio.
All right.
So he just throws his mic across the room.
I shouldn't have said you were acting like a bitch. I don't know. You're not doing this? Okay, so you don't want to stream, or you want me to stream? You don't want to be on the stream?
I don't know what to tell you. You decided to do what you decided to do. You've been acting completely crazy, and then now that you're streaming, you maximize the craziness to alienate me. You figure out what you want to do now. It's not my problem. It's your problem.
Okay. All right.
You treat me like shit, and I'm sick of it. So you wanted to do. You don't want to stream. You're a victim of that. You're a victim of the elevator not working. You're a victim of having to put a card in twice on the door. You're a victim of everything. You're sneezing like a crazy. You're saying your sinuses are acting up. It's 24 hours.
Sneezing like a crazy. This isn't even the worst of it though. This one is much worse. This is the second one that I have saved in my little Google Doc here. I've showed this on stream before. Oh, the audio's not sharing. Hold on. 1 second, guys. Let me fix that. Share screen. Okay, here we go.
Everybody, it is Tuesday, January 16, 2022, 4:03 p.m.
2022?
2024. We are. I just said it's.
You're letting everyone know you're crazy.
That's a crazy thing to say. Yeah. We are in.
Bougie.
Wait, what's he mad about?
He's saying bougie.
Date wrong? That's why he's mad?
Yeah. She said,
Yeah.
yeah.
She said the wrong year when saying that.
Yeah. And I also want
That's
to
such
say.
a minor thing. Why would he spend the next 12 hours freaking out? He's clearly not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's every stream. It will be something very, very small. It will spiral out of control. It's really hard to show it in these small clips. How the mood just changes, and Grace is doing everything in her power to keep it calm and like to say whatever Ben needs her to say to calm down. Ben gets more and more wound up, and it becomes a crazy stream where he's telling her all kinds of terrible things about herself and how she's just like her mother. And it's always back to the "you're just like your mother," and she ends up crying at the end of it or having a meltdown.
Yep. And I also want to say to dancing on that is such an important thing to bring up. Sometimes I forget. I used to say that all the time in like the older streams, and I forget for when you get so deep in it. But Dancing in the Sun says this seems like acting for the views. I need to see more. I'd say that the main argument against that is the stuff that their family has come out and said, such as John, the clip that I showed earlier. I don't know if you saw all of the DV, the fact that the ex-wife has a restraining order against Ben and doesn't want him to get access to the kids. And just the fact that this has been going on for years now, I'd say like 4 years at least, and they have not once deviated from this quote-unquote act, right? Ben has literally gone to jail for it. Quite literally gone to jail.
And
Multiple
not just
times.
that, I think Dancing true, like 4 or 5 times now he's been locked up. Dude, like you don't take a bit that far. You don't get yourself locked up and take away your own freedom. And I think Dancing Stars, whatever, must have missed the beginning when you played the domestic violence compilation, because if you just tuned in the last like 3 minutes, what you've seen so far is nothing. It's about to explode right here. We only paused because we wanted to point out that the explosion you're about to see, he freaks out for a whole day, 12 hours streaming. This is highlights of just him like freaking out the whole day long. And it all started because Grace started the stream by saying, hey, it's December 23rd, 2023 instead of 2024. And it's like, who cares? But he's such a perfectionist and he's so narcissistic about the perfection of his image that Grace making that little mistake is enough to send him into a rage spiral that you're about to see that goes on for literally 12 hours. You'll see the sun set next to him as he's still freaking out.
Fuck you.
It's not going well. It's not going well. So
fuck you. It's not going.
I think you should ask anyone. We're in Central Virginia. Anyone between here and Rhode Island who would like to, who believes this person is wonderful, fixable, whatever the hell you want to do with her, take her off my hands. I'll drop her off, do whatever the fuck you want with her, kill her for all I care, and
kill her for all I care.
Get her out of my goddamn life. Anyone want to take me up on that offer?
I totally
she needs
understand.
To be warm. She needs to be fucking warm. Okay? Warm, cigarettes, victimhood. Anyone up for that? I'm not anymore. Anyone tell me the town, I will drop this piece of shit off 24 hours a day. Look at this fucking loser.
So I understand him saying that, and
okay, guys.
Well,
shut the fuck up.
You all just want me to shut up? It's
I don't
a live
care what
stream.
You do. Kill yourself. It doesn't matter. I'll just throw her out the fucking door. You can peel her off the side of the road. She'll be crying, cold. Keep her warm. Whatever you want to do. Just do it. Just tell me the exit number. I'll drive her right to your fucking door.
Pause it for 1 second. Okay.
Whatever the hell it is you want to do.
I just want to say, a normal person at any point, as crazy as this is, don't forget, like, okay, if you have a crazy family and you have these fights, that's one thing, but like, just turn the fucking camera off, bro. Like a normal human being would stop streaming and work out their problems. Instead, Ben forces her to sit there and perform because he knows that his audience are sick sadists like himself, the 1% of 1% that actually enjoy it and don't hate watch, the people that send money, not the ones that are fooled that don't know this stuff yet, but like the ones that actually like them, are sick people like him. And he forces her to perform. And like when she goes to react to the chat, like she's like, "Well, I understand why she's trying to apologize for him to chat, and he yells at her for that. It's just so many layers of insane on top of insane on top of insane."
Yeah,
and long-term viewers will
understand
that there's a cycle. This happens. You know, he'll go in like this to Grace. It will be really, really terrible, and she'll, have a meltdown. And then the next day they'll be lovey-dovey again. He'll be telling her how talented she is, how wonderful she is, and that will happen for a certain period of time. And then all of a sudden, something small will trigger him, and we'll go back to this. It's a big cycle, and it happens over and over and over again. People have watched for ages.
It's what all of you do.
They know the signs.
Yeah, it's 100% the cycle of abuse, because they have to keep you railed in, or reeled in. So they reel you back in, and then they bring you down, and it's an addictive cycle. But also another thing in terms of cycles is that Ben has admitted that he has been diagnosed with bipolar in response to this comment. But he said that Grace, his relationship with Grace, because they got very close. And there's actually another John Thorp statement video. Let's see if I can find it here. But basically they got really close when Grace was 15-ish, and Here it is. Here it is. I'm just going to play it for you. And Ben said that his relationship with Grace during that time cured him of his bipolar disorder. So I'll play that really quickly for you here. This is from when Darius visited and had a private conversation with John Thorp. Fucking StreamYard. I need to learn Streamlabs so badly. Hold on. Here we go.
Stuff which really matters to me because that's my dad and my sister.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm not cool with that happening, even though it's legal in Rhode Island.
Oh, it's just
at
legal,
16.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was legal.
So I can't call the cops about it, but like what happened is Grace, when she, I don't know if it was when she was 15 or 16. That's where I like don't really know what happened and why like I can't even like talk to the cops about it because I don't know what age she was when it started. But he started like grooming her. Can you just leave me alone for a minute? Huh? Yeah, I'm just gonna talk with him for a minute.
Okay.
Like, so he started like to like buy her stuff and like get closer with her because he was basically off the radar for a really long time.
When you say like buy something to get close to her, you mean like okay, so like my dad divorced me, and like the way my dad divorced my mom, the way he would try to like get my attention was like randomly buy me shit. I'd be like, oh, I got like a PS4 here, bro. Like, PS4 at your mom's house, she's broke.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of like that, but they weren't broke up yet.
Oh, okay, so they were still.
My dad weren't broke up yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it was just like favoritism and shit.
Yeah, it was just like weird. It was just like out of nowhere, he just started like acting, giving her stuff, and I mean, like I've always known my dad was like a weird guy, and like he's just bizarre.
When you say he's like a bizarre, does he just give creepy fucking vibes? Or
yeah, he just gives creepy fucking vibes, but also like he was just terrifying when I was a kid. Like,
gotcha.
Just he made me like the person who like everybody could get like on board with hating all the time. I was like singled out as like the asshole family. I don't know why, but that was just the situation.
Okay.
And so that stuff started happening, and she got closer with him, and then we moved to a different living situation. I was living with Dad and Grace in an apartment.
Yeah.
Like I was living above them.
I was in that place, like downstairs. And then...
No, not in Warren yet.
Okay.
But it was another place. It doesn't really matter, but it was in Providence.
Okay.
And so he started like sleeping in the same bed as her, and I just got like
this is like 15, 16?
This is when she was like 16 and 17.
16, 17?
And it was like when COVID started.
Okay.
And we all got like isolated. Like I was going to school, and during that summer, which was one of the worst summers of my life, like they got really close and they started sleeping together, and like I mean like it's just not normal. I'm not gonna like
they started sleeping together, he said.
Pretend like something's not happening there, and I was just
Ben actually he put a couch in Grace's room because they were spending so much time together and he wanted somewhere to sit, so he brought a couch.
And then eventually we moved back here. We moved here from that place after like a ton of like the way he talks to people. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it on stream.
I mean, yeah.
He's just
I've been talking to him.
Yeah.
He kind of rambles and he kind of goes on a little bit of like the I don't know. There's a little bit like a friendly energy you get.
Yeah, you have to be nice to him.
Yeah.
He will like really.
Yeah, you think it's bipolar?
Get under ass. Yeah. I think he's also a narcissist.
But there you go.
So then we moved here, and I was living with them, and I mean, I was just being tormented the whole time. I don't really care about that part. That's not the most important part. The most important part is that I was downstairs in this place. They were both upstairs. I saw Grace's phone on the table, saw a text from my dad or dad, whatever, coming in on her phone, and I looked at them, and it was like the craziest. Like my heart started like pounding like really fast. And what I saw was like basically sexting, like him and her sexting, and I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck? Like this is. Like I knew stuff was going on, but like I mean I don't think it's really invading privacy if I start to.
Don't fucking care if you are invading privacy. That's pretty.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's their point. Is
that's
that I
their
invaded
point.
her privacy, and that's why it was bad. But I mean, it was like bring me that big dick daddy, like, and it wasn't a joke, and it was a lot of eggplant emojis and like squirting water emojis, and it was just one of those things where it's like, what the fuck? And then I told my brother, and I like blew it up, and then they basically like humiliated me in front of everybody and called me like a pervert for even looking at her phone.
Wait, they did as in just Grace and
Dad? Yeah.
Okay,
they took everybody down and sat them down. I was like, this isn't real.
I'm so sorry. What's your youngest brother doing? Tommy seems to be on the side of your dad. Not.
Yeah. Everybody.
Well, he's like 15.
Charlie, who is the guy who took the monitor.
How old is Charlie?
He's 17.
He's 17, right? Okay, gotcha.
So as you can see, kind of the older you get.
Yeah, the more you can realize a little bit.
Unless you're like Grace.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of is like, do you have a reason to lie? Because the thing is like you're just first of major privacy, and the two that you're lying about.
Yeah, right. I have no reason.
I was like, why the fuck would you lie about it?
The incest thing. I feel like I always say that it's purely allegation, from the family, but Yeah.
No, they do deny that they have interacted sexually, but they do not deny that they share a bed together and that their relationship is somewhat incestuous in that Ben often treats Grace like a spouse rather than a...
Yes.
And they do lean into and made it a point intentionally because it got them infamy in the first place, playing up the idea that they are together,
Mhm.
and not playing it up like playing a character, but just like saying all sorts of things like, well, if it did happen, it didn't happen before she was 16 because that's when it would have become legal in the state of Rhode Island for a man like me to fuck my daughter. And also, Ben is infamous for sending his penis pictures unsolicited to females, and he can never seem to get erect for them, which is what a normal man does when he sends a penis picture. So one has to assume. Wait, I just want to say he believes this. I don't want to get too deep into it, but he believes, as a very strangely religious man with strange religious beliefs, that he is not violating her if he can't get erect. If they just do oral with each other or do whatever, the sex toys they've talked about buying together, whatever they do, he thinks that doesn't count as real sex.
Allegedly.
Well, what I'm saying is every time he's interviewed, allegedly. And what I'm saying is that anytime he talks to people like Mr. Girl or Destiny, he gets on bigger platforms, he's always pressured them to ask him about it and then give him these non-answers where he says, well, if it did happen, it only happened once she turned 16 and it was legal. But I'm not going to. But a normal person would just say, no, it didn't happen.
Okay, so he also said this, according to somebody in chat. Ben said, Grace said, so that's another thing that I have on my document here, another clip that I was going to show, and then we'll get back to the emotional abuse stuff. But shout out to Shamu on Twitter for this. Ben Thorp accuses his daughter Grace. So this is not alleged. Ben Thorp said this himself. He accused Grace of sexually abusing him, and I remember hearing, I've spoken with John, and John has told me, so I guess it's like hearsay, because I don't have proof of this, but to add to what XP was saying, I recall John telling me that Ben would say Grace orally grapes him, and that's how Ben tried to spin it, is that Grace, like, she would be the one that would assault him. But then later, and I hesitated because later Ben comes on and says, oh, well, when I said orally graped, I meant like as a metaphor. But
he was talking to me in a mean way. Like, who the hell says weird shit like that? That's he intentionally plays word games, trying to let people know that he's a pedophile for his daughter, but never actually admit it, and also never deny it, like a normal fucking person would if it weren't true.
So here's that. So
allegedly means that long.
Okay, XP. Here's the clip. Here's the clip.
Forced me to sleep in unbelievable conditions. I've done all of this stuff for you to show you that I care. You abused me, taken me to court, sexually abused me. Whatever I can do, I've done. You put me in impossible situations all the time.
So let's play that one more time.
Forced me to sleep in unbelievable conditions. I've done all of this stuff for you to show you that I care. You abused me, taken me to court, sexually abused me. Whatever I can do, I've done. You put me in impossible situations all.
So there's Ben saying that she's sexually abused him, which it seems like it's the other way around. But yeah, that's as much as we've seen him like admit to the allegations. Let's continue with this because it goes on even fucking longer. Like XP said, till the sun sets.
Fix her up, show her how life is bad, whatever. I'm out.
Okay, all right. I mean, it just seems a little dramatic. I get it. I've been acting like a fucking asshole.
Good, yeah. Call me gay. That's fine. You're right. No, you're a victim. Yes.
I'm not a victim.
You're a victim. Tell them you're a victim. Pick up this victim, please. Someone. I'll drop her off, whatever. I don't care. Walmart parking lot, police station, whatever. She's doing the best she can.
It wasn't just vibing,
I think it's time to despair. Despair, nigga. It's fun to despair. Your mother fucking loves it. Despair! Despair! Who cares? Your relationship with me is not your life. So despair. You fucking ruined it, nigga. You ruined it. Despair. You've got to do something else. And you could tell someone you're a victim of how I treated you, whatever. Restraining orders, steal the money, what's left of the money, whatever. Just get out of my fucking life. Get out of this fucking car, out of my fucking life. See how it goes. Maybe it'll go great.
All right.
Other people like you. I don't. Can I have a cigarette, or do I have to get up while I'm driving to roll a cigarette?
Yeah, I'll roll a few.
You can find some other people who will roll cigarettes while they're driving, because you shouldn't be oppressed by having to do anything ever except complain.
Well, I don't think it's going to change your mind. I'm despairing.
Despair. Please, God almighty.
Never do anything ever except complain. It sounds like exactly all he's been doing all day. She said the wrong day.
Do it.
I don't know.
Now it's just to go back home, it's just to put up with this, and then you're going to fucking Jeffrey Dahmer me back in Warren? Fuck you. You're a victim of life.
Whatever. I'll take my punishment.
Because you're a wonderful person. Never
Not
forget
a wonderful person.
When Ben says someone is abusing him, he means what Grace is doing right now, being hurt by this abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I ruined it. I'm just manipulated to the core. Oh, shut up.
Sit here and lie.
Shut up.
You're a victim. Enjoy the fruits of being a victim. Blue Ridge Mountains. You're a victim of those. I enjoyed the trip.
So,
Beautiful trip. Every leg of it.
as you can see from the compilation, it literally goes on till the sun sets. Like
The entire day.
these sessions, it doesn't happen as much anymore. But these sessions, they still happen. And they will go on for hours.
They used to happen all the time.
Really hates 2022. Just hates it. Despair.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they deleted all of their old stuff and only re-released like 12 of like the thousands of hours of streams they've had.
Yep.
They're trying to hide all this, and that's why we're trying to show it to people that are new, because a lot of people are just finding them, and they can be charismatic, and you think, oh wow, these people are really wild. They're just playing a character. Like, no, we're showing you, and we're showing you other channels that have further resources, because we can only show you the tip of the iceberg in this stream. Naptown has great compilations. All for Nothing Analysis has great analysis and compilations. Are a smaller channel, but they focus exclusively on the Thorps and do some great analysis. Shiamu has 2 great documentaries. I know we mentioned it earlier in the stream, but a lot of people just tune in and tune out, so I'm going to mention it again. If you're looking for more info on this stuff, if you're a new viewer, we're just showing you the tip of the iceberg here, so keep watching.
Here's another, my second to last example of emotional abuse. Just a quick.
How you feel about that. Look at your face. Show them your fucking stupid face. You're asking me to smack you.
Yes.
I'll be homeless? I gotta go now. Be the victim! You are! Now quit, do it. Yeah, do your thing. Victim.
Kill dad. Kill myself. Kill dad.
Can I get the box for this booster? Have it?
Yeah, here you go.
I got plenty of these. That's not it, is it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Such a fucking idiot.
Sorry.
I'm out. Okay.
Sorry, he's such a retard. I'm acting like a retard. I'm an asshole who's acting like a retard because I'm being all.
Ruska, you dumbass motherfucker. We're doing this to show the new audience. We're not trying to ruin her LOLCOW thing. It's the fact that a new audience is coming in, so we're trying to compile everything so people can see the truth. Thank you.
Interestingly enough, people seem to get really defensive about Ben doesn't hit Grace. Ben would never hit Grace.
Yeah.
Even though, number one, it's on camera. Number two, even in his own interview with Mr. Girl, he's like, yeah, physically corrected her like 5 or 6 times in the last 5 years. And I think that's perfectly fine. And he argues for physical correction in many ways. So people defending that are kind of speaking against Ben.
Mm-hmm. FPS Diesel also has a good doc. Yeah, that is true as well. Yeah, this is very much against Ben in the way that Ben is going to weasel his way into this lolcow thing and inevitably ruin it, which, like I said earlier, I will hedge so many bets on the fact that that's going to happen, and something bad is going to happen, especially if they're doing these meetups. So,
and also, it's not just Ben. Even if some people in the chat were pointing out, well, wouldn't this be good if this separated her from Ben? And in a sense, sure, it would. There's a chance that she could have been there's a chance that she has been trying to find a way to exit Ben this entire time and is too proud and stubborn to just take up one of the scummy men in her Discord begging her to take their money and come sleep on her, at her. So maybe she's trying to find a way to like earn her way out. And if that's the case and she snitches on Ben and gets him locked up in the end, then God bless her.
Yeah.
But like she has been so brainwashed by him from all apparent signs that if she gets let go from him holding her back, she could be more dangerous than ever. Because like I said, we haven't even gotten to this stuff yet, the kids stuff, but like she was abused since she was a child. And like, we all feel bad for her. That's why we're showing how Ben made her into the monster that she is today. But like, she's just like him now. And if she does turn her back on him, then good.
Yeah.
If she gets names off LOLCOWlive and like ditches her dad and tells everything she knows to the FBI about the shit he did to her, and God knows who else she knows.
Because it's also extremely important considering the fact that since they are tied at the hip, right now, there is an active court case, which we're going to go over later. There's an active divorce case right now. Ben and Grace are actively trying to fight for custody. Right now, they only have, and that includes custody of another daughter that was Grace's age when Grace started getting groomed by Ben. So the mom
actually real quick before we get back to the other stuff,
no, hold on. And so Grace is fighting really hard, or not Grace, Courtney is fighting really hard to protect these kids. And right now the Thorps have been broke, but Keemstar is giving them this opportunity to help pay and fund Ben's legal battles. So Lynx was saying in VC earlier, Grace has probably already broke the NDA for her contract. Probably bullshit, but W/E.
She hasn't signed her contract yet.
Yeah, she hasn't signed her contract yet. And they accidentally outed their intentions for Maggie. Yep, we're going to get to that. All right, XP, what did you want to say?
I was just thinking, obviously, we're going to play all of it later. Sorry, 2 minutes time, but obviously, we're going to get into all that later. But like, just that 1 10-second clip of her talking about when she gets too old and it's time for Maggie to replace her, just so that people who are seeing Ben victimize her now understand what it turns her into, so they don't get tricked by the sympathy. Because you should have sympathy, but only to a point. Because at some point, she has to be responsible for these other crimes that she's now into.
Okay, let me keep playing this here.
Basically lying.
Okay.
Why lie?
I'm angry at you because I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I'm whatever. I'm angry at life because I slept through making content earlier, and now we're here, and he seems to be asleep. So.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm angry.
You're angry because you slept through making content earlier? What does that mean?
Well,
You decided to take a nap.
Yes.
How are you angry?
What are you getting at? What are you trying to get me to say? What you're saying? Like, okay.
I'm trying. Okay, so you're a victim, and you're like, we're playing a game, and I'm playing a game with you.
No, you're saying
and
I'm mad at
the
something.
game is, what do I want you to say? You're a liar.
Okay.
All right, whatever.
Yeah, I'm a liar.
Okay, yeah.
Everything you do is like this. It's totally crazy. You're trying to confuse your audience by saying, I really have a great relationship with my dad, but I'm also a victim of it all the time.
Yeah, I want you around, but also you abuse me and ask me
You are embarrassed by your relationship with me. I'm a useful resource in that I can point out things and then you can take them and write them down. Why don't you want to deal with reality? Because you're a victim of reality. What are you a victim of? Why is it that you hate? Like, really, it's about God, right? Why do you hate God right now? Is God making you act like this? You realize how chaotic our lives are?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It's because of you. It's 4:33 in the morning. I'm in an RV that really should be fixed outside of a goofball's Airbnb.
Yeah.
I'm nitpicky.
When I was going to stream, you were like, why haven't you started streaming on Kick? And I mean,
Okay, so you're a victim. You're a victim of streaming. You're a victim of the RV. You're a victim of having lots of money that I was able to procure through real estate. Every time it makes sense to stream, you're a victim if I say, like, now would be a good time to stream. Is that correct?
no, I'm not a victim of that. I don't.
Yes, you are. Why don't you just own it? Yes, you are. And so is this fellow in here.
I'm not a victim of that.
Well, don't assert to me what it is. Make sense of it. He doesn't.
So it just goes on and on and on. You guys can look up these full things if you want. But the next thing I'm going to show you, let me see, there might be one more. Yep, there's one more example here. Let's see. So, and also if you see them repeating, if you see them wearing the same clothes and you're like, oh, what, this all happened on the same day? No, they wear the same outfits over and over again for like a month straight. Ben will not change his clothes. They admitted to only showering like once every few weeks to a month and just using baby wipes. So these all have happened very, very much spaced apart, okay?
Baby wipes putting on a lot of work there.
A lot of work.
I'm doing a stream with you. I don't really know why, but you've made it like unpleasant.
Let's make it pleasant again. I'm sorry, I got irritable because everything just seemed like it was crazy.
Well, what do you mean? You just extended the stay.
I know, but like your phone, like the volume.
You act in a way that makes no sense.
You know, I guess I just figured like the stream.
I also just want to point out another time when Ben he forced Grace to do their laundry in the hotel bathtub, and the entire time Ben knew that there was a washer and dryer, but he didn't tell Grace that, so he made her hand wash his poopy underwear. There was like poop stains all over it. Showed on camera. We're for real. We're so for real. There's photos in Discords, okay? I don't have it. I wouldn't be able to find it right now, but someday I'll post it on my community page, I think is what I'll do. Ava, stop reminding us. But back to this though.
Because
when you say like, I don't really appreciate that. I don't appreciate the aggressive responses. Because that's, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying it in a fairly pleasant way, but when you go, right? What does that mean? You said today, like, I'm totally going to be grateful and nice, but every opportunity that anything happens, you are a victim of it.
Yeah,
when does that end?
I'm acting like a victim. I'm going to stop doing that now.
Like, who owes you? Who are you a victim of? I don't understand. I don't understand why it is that every day you're angry at life. Why would you make it so unpleasant for the stream? Just sit there and make it like look like you're annoyed at this customer service person. Why not be pleasant? It's boring, yes, to be on the phone, but why not just say like, hey, it's an opportunity to talk to chat?
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, you're right about that.
I don't know how you expect me to want to continue. I mean, why don't you figure it out? I think that one of the reasons that people have trouble collabing with us is because you're kind of rude.
So yeah, that goes on and escalates. But that's just a few examples of the emotional abuse that I'm going to show you. Next, I'm going to show you one more thing that I forgot to include in the DVD.
You're in charge.
Here's Ben. This is a very old clip back when they were still living with Courtney and streaming, when he throws this mic.
All right, I give up. Here you go, Grace. You're in charge. Bye.
Throws the mic at her.
Dams.
Oh, in the chats while you guys were talking. That's seriously. I wasn't saying.
Fuck it. You're a TikTok. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, right. You're a victim.
So that was on
Thorp bingo, where every time he calls her a victim, you have to take a shot.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while. Like, he was literally using that every other word. Now here's another clip. Shout out to Shamu for this. I'll just let this play. Ben hot mics while in Discord, secretly recording his parents.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't understand. I don't understand. What it was by error.
I never saw this.
I need to go back in.
Right, but
I don't know how to do it.
responsible for that error.
What is special care? That's for me to know and you to find out.
I don't understand. What it was.
Oh, what does he say in Discord here? It's extra special care. Like, you're a fucking asshole. It's not the same special care you want to give me if that's what you're asking. So that's what Ben says. And this person says, avoiding the question is not making you look any better. Ben talks about hitting his children and wife.
But I'm normal. I've never abused anyone. Have I hit my kids? Yes. Have I hit this person down here? Yes. But never unwarrantedly.
There was another arc, just to remind you guys, when he says unwarrantedly, he thinks that DV should be legal, like, everywhere.
And unwarranted means whenever I feel like my feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
Because you got the date wrong, and now I want to.
He debated Andrew Wilson about let me find this one thing here, hold on. But yeah, he debated Andrew Wilson about this domestic violence thing. Like, he's very seriously, like, arguing that it's actually a good thing for society. And then the last piece of Thorp lore history that I want to go over before we move into the next segment, to just educate you new people, that's not in the Shamu documentary, is the Ruby arc. Okay, so with Ruby, Grace and Ruby were friends they were collabing for about a month or two, and it slowly started escalating. If you go and look on my channel, it's actually some of my most popular live streams is covering this Ruby arc, because basically there started to be some tensions building between them as Ruby was trying to help Grace get out of the situation and figure out, like, what do you want for your life, Grace, and not just thinking about what she needs to do for Ben. So we can see I had a whole stream here. It's my most popular one with Ruby. And there's a whole confrontation here when Ruby confronts Grace, because basically what happens is one day Grace showed up on Ruby's porch with a black eye, crying and hiding, crouched in the corner. And Ruby had no idea that Grace was even coming, but Ben and Grace have been, like, so obsessed with Ruby. They were just, like, sleeping in the RV down the street from Ruby's house, hanging out all the time. And she had a black eye from Ben. Ben hit her. And Ruby provided these texts with Grace. Grace does not deny it. So Grace says, my face was puffy and you were genuinely concerned that something had happened, right? And Ruby says, I know he hit you in the face. It's the only explanation. And he's on video hitting and kicking you. So it's wild to gaslight me. And Grace says, please stop accusing me of gaslighting you, Ruby. I am admitting he was rough with me that morning. And then Ruby said, I have no doubt in my mind that you had a facial injury. And Grace says, that's why I was crying. He dropped me off at your place and took off. I was very confused, and I'm still very confused. And then Ruby's like, it wasn't puffy from crying. It looked like an unambiguous fresh bruise. So that's the allegations from Ruby. And then basically they fell apart after that because Ruby confronted Grace about it, and the fact that Ben was like turning on her and starting to question like every aspect of her life and ruin the friendship between Ruby and Grace after this happened. And it eventually culminated in Grace and Ben making these hate streams, calling Ruby just an ex-fentanyl addict whore, playing her cam girl audio for Grace's entire audience to listen to, and just being as mean as they possibly can. And this kind of culminates into the next segment, which is the fact that they have burned every single bridge with every single person they've ever collaborated with, except for maybe like Simp Lalo, but Destiny, Ethan Ralph, Milo Yiannopoulos. They've had a lot of big opportunities, and they've ruined all of them. Darius, by just turning around and going nuclear on these people. Me, Ruby. I'm trying to think who else. Andrew Wilson. Yeah.
Ethan Ralph.
Yep. So, and they are so dysfunctional that when they're talking to these new people, I want to warn the co-hosts of lolcowlive. I don't know if Lynx, is that her name, if she's still watching, but they will be compiling a file on you and writing. There's been videos on me where they have a whiteboard and Ben is like, well, why don't you write out every piece of dirt that you have on Ava and write out the bullet points list so that you can, and they'll literally do that. They've done that with multiple people. They'll write, oh, you've had sex with a black man before, write that down. You've done drugs before, write that down. And they have these brainstorming sessions where they think of literally everything that they can to slander you. Or not slander, but it's like, I don't know, they'll reach incredibly hard. So you
don't give them any personal information about your family, because as soon as you say one thing about your father or mother, that's it. Ben will immediately be like, okay, so you have daddy issues and you need a daddy to take care of you.
And it doesn't even matter if you do have those issues. If you just like give him a detail that he can hone in on and misinterpret and talk about, he will take any factoid and turn it into a huge conspiracy theory of his own making.
Yes. And what the heck else? Oh yeah, the OPC Dawn thing. They Get Cracked. So they had two major whales that were giving them a ton of money, and they met up with one of them, and they couldn't even help but to ruin that relationship and completely humiliate the man. The only reason that he still comes around is because he's so simpish and obsessed with Grace and just like a very, I mean, I'm usually not this mean, but like pathetic person. So that is the only reason that he still comes around.
There's another guy too that's kind of similar to OPC Don, who's younger, and is actually feel more bad for him because OPC Don is as brain broken as he often seems. Like he isn't totally retarded, but like this one kid EFD seems like he definitely has some developmental disabilities, and like this is what the Thorps do is they try to find any damaged person so that they can dunk on them, because they're like in Napoleon Dynamite when Napoleon is mad at the llama because it's the only thing he can bully in his life because everyone else is bullying him. They look for like anyone that they can say anything about and surround themselves with it, and like it's just very
It can be pretty funny when you say, you know, I got no problems with my parents, and they're like, so you talk to your parents? You talk to your parents every week? Well, don't you think that's a lot? Don't you think you should be cutting the time? You're just like,
yeah.
And like I know that like that's the kind of a common thing in the LOLCOW community is just people kind of dunking on each other, and it's like all fun and games when it's fun and games, but the stuff with Chris Chan, not that like the trolls really pushed him to it, like he went across the line and did some horrible things, and like we're trying to prevent Grace and Ben from being the next Chris Chan. They say they want to be the next Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but they're really going to end up being the next Chris Chan. Like,
yeah,
I want to show you guys this now.
Trying to prevent that. Get them cut off now before it's too late.
For the record, we love EFD here. EFD,
yes,
good guy.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I wasn't trying to pick on him. I'm just saying it's sad that like they abuse on like they'll abuse anyone they can, and like I think it's even worse. Like it's one thing when they do it to OPC Don because he kind of asks for it. I feel bad for the dude, but like EFD, I feel bad for because he's not all there.
All right, so this is the next thing, and yeah, I mean that with that point, it's just like people that watch LOLCOW Live, like I don't really think that they give a fuck about that, right? But like anybody with like, I don't know, like or even if you do watch LOLCOWlive, but you're like, sometimes there's just a line that's crossed. I would say that that's definitely kind of a line that's crossed, but
and these people cross it all the time. That's the thing. If they were just like on the right side of the line, like we have no problem with Keemstar or what any of them are, like I don't even watch it, so I can't like vouch for everything they've done. I don't know, but like we're not trying to say that this whole community is bad because obviously that's not the point.
Yeah,
like at all. Like these people are just so far over the line that even somebody who does really edgy stuff, edgy humor, like Keemstar should be like, I need to protect my business by not bringing people that say they want to be Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Grace talking about soon enough, dad's going to have to move on to my little teenage sister because I'll be too old and I'll accept it because that's just how women don't take enough responsibility for getting fat like I will. Actually. Like,
but we'll get there. We will get there. We'll get there soon though, because right now I just want to show you guys real quick the shit that they talk on people when they were trying to get with Milo, and I mean, let alone like that. Yeah, I'll just show with shit that they talk about people bigger than them, even they don't care.
Fuck them. This all culminated on Telegram where Ben Thorp was.
Your God is National Grid. You worship National Grid. Christ said, do not worship God.
Children with living expenses or putting a roof over. When I asked Ben if he would help his children with living expenses or putting a roof over their head with the upcoming eviction, Ben said, and I quote, "My kids can suck my dick. Fuck them." This all culminated on Telegram where Ben Thorp was sent into a rage when fellow homosexual and right-wing Catholic Milo Yiannopoulos decided to leak all of his insane texts from Grace Thorp. With all of these issues compounding and building off one another, something had to give for Ben.
A 20-year cock-sucking fat to have his dick in someone. And then he says,
I really want to emphasize how long he was kissing Milo's ass for, trying to collaborate with him. And then this is what happens when he gets rejected.
On his Telegram that we're banned from. That's assuming she can make room in her schedule of sucking off her dad. Now, that is it. I am hunting that fucking guy down. I know where he lives in Tennessee. I'm going to hunt him down.
You said you were going to hunt.
And I am going to confront him. And this fist is going to wreak vengeance upon his little fat.
Okay,
no fucking way that a human being can do that and let it stand. And I'm not going to come and hunt that Nick. No way. And I have some fucking retard in Toronto who wants to go with me, and that can be part of it. And I've told Destiny I'm going to come down and visit him too. So how does the clout not work? You're telling me Destiny and Milo Yiannopoulos and Speakeasy, the like rapper who can't even rap in Toronto, are going to stand and talk shit face to face with me when I'm in shape, when I'm publicly in shape, when I'm 6'8", when I'm 280 pounds, when I got nothing to lose, and I gotta I gotta suck their dicks for clout. I don't have to suck their dicks for clout. They're gonna suck my.
And I hope that you guys are looking at. Let me actually zoom in. These are all the texts that you LOLCOW lovers will love. There's some comedic relief here. These are all the texts that Grace sent to Milo that he leaked. So look at this.
And I have some fucking retard in Toronto who wants to go with me, and that can be part of it. And I've told Destiny I'm going to come down and visit him too. So how does the clout not work? You're telling me Destiny and Milo Yiannopoulos and Speakeasy, the like rapper who can't even rap in Toronto, are going to stand and talk shit face to face with me when I'm in shape, when I'm publicly in shape, when I'm 6'8", when I'm 280 pounds, when I got nothing to lose, and I gotta I gotta suck their dicks for clout. I don't have to suck their dicks for clout. They're gonna suck my dick for clout. For survival, also. I've had the shit kicked out of me my whole life, and it's true that I first trusted Grace's mother. She's turned into a psychopathic maniac who deserves.
So, yeah, that's the way that Ben
was like a book. She sent him a whole book.
Yeah.
It was like Lord of the Rings part 1.
That's how she texts her mom too. That's how she texts her mom. I don't know if I wait, let me look at my Discord. archive really quickly because this I wasn't even gonna include this, but like the way that this bitch text is crazy,
She typed.
absolutely bonkers. She sent her mom like sexy pictures before. Where did I drop this? Here it is. Here it is. Look at this. Her mom's like, totally gross and inappropriate. And she says, "Between women, am I right? You've literally seen my entire body, right? Like, wipe my ass and all that stuff." And then just sends. She sent her mom pictures like in her panties before to like show off that she's hot. I don't. That I'm not even gonna try and like figure out what the reasoning behind that is. But I guess she's like, "Oh yeah, I mog my mom." She's just, I'm like, all right, if that's what helps you feel good about yourself, go off, I guess. But
It's an argument for not teaching your children English or to write or to read, because then they're not going to do this to you.
Let me see what's next on my agenda here, though. Let's see. Then introduce. Oh yeah. So I mean, I've basically already said that Grace has been invited to be a lolcowqueen host. And this is some stuff they haven't even. So that's the shit that Ben talks after the bridge is burned. But they've talked some shit on Keemstar after Grace's first appearance already. So I just want, if he ever stumbles upon this, he should also be warned. Just be very careful with these people, because Ben has already said this a couple months ago.
If you look at someone like Keemstar or that fat retard Nick Diorio or any of these like dream, but if you look at someone like Keemstar or that fat retard Nick Diorio or any of these like drama commentary people, I don't see what they do as a million miles away from what Shamu does.
No, I don't. I agree. Keemstar openly stalks people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should be criminally charged for that. Like, you can hire private investigators. Private investigators are going to be very careful because it's a profession that's highly regulated. If you just send people to stalk someone, like you're engaging. Oh yeah, you're engaging in very risky behavior. Especially if you hire them to do it. It's a gray area, you could say, but
my point would be though that okay, let's say Keemstar and Shamu are equally immoral and deserve imprisonment and what have you. But the state of things,
I believe Keemstar is a rumor monger. I believe he has very little regard for people's reputations. I think he's moralistic and
he is on YouTube. He's making lots of money, and he's not he's not in prison. So how do you say that the same thing is going to happen to Shamu if Keemstar is?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you have is like you have an evolving new format in which like it's been difficult, especially since a lot of this stuff. Well, whatever. Yeah, there's conflicting things. Like on the one hand, Keemstar gets YouTube a lot of money. On the other hand, right, like it's sort of he's pushing the line. He mostly is very vanilla, but then I think sometimes he gets like super crazy, and I do think he should be punished for that. And I do think he takes a step further though. He actually uses his connections to get his channels.
So if you guys can't hear that, she says he actually uses his YouTube connections to get people's channels taken down. I can't get the audio any. It's shitty audio, but
sort of he's pushing the line super crazy, and I do think he should be punished for that. And I do think he takes a step further though. He actually uses his YouTube connections to get his channels taken down. Like, he literally does that. Yeah, I mean, but everyone goes like, oh.
So yeah, that's just me being petty for a second. But back to the
I don't know if it is true that Keem has the ability to or ever has taken anyone's channel down, but if he does have that power, at a minimum, obviously he should not let these people sign a contract that he's considering offering them, because he does not need this liability on his business with their behavior. But like, he should use that ability, if he has it, to shut channels down, to get them banned from YouTube for their numerous TOS violations every day, all day.
Let me see. So the next thing that I want to talk about is I've already given. Sorry, I'm just like looking at my little document here and being like, what's the next thing on the agenda? But I'm like, I already kind of talked about it. I already kind of gave you guys a background on the Courtney divorce situation and the fact that there's kids, a young daughter involved, and Ben is totally trying to get his vengeance on Courtney. Let's see, I'll just play this. I think I linked to the wrong thing actually, but yeah, so there's a possibility that they're going to be getting access to the kids again after the restraining order. And that's just a little bit concerning to me because this is Ben talking about a 14-year-old girl here. Hold on. Let me find it. Here we go.
And this won't be the only clip of that.
Here it is. Let me just present really quick. Share screen.
If you're eating something, you might want to put your plate down and get ready for some trigger warning grossness that's about to get worse here.
The whole reason we got summarily hurled out of the previous place we were in is because allegedly, because someone
on the chessboard. That's right.
thought that we had been filming a young woman who was 14.
She was sitting out there on that new to you guys paddleboard, logging for me. I mean, it was like a swim. I'm not saying it was porno, but it was like,
allegedly.
What are you doing right in front of me?
Oh my! Oh, dude, come on!
Absolutely.
Oh no, that is autistic. That's like if I said,
She had
"Oh,
the
she
whole
was
fucking
showing the
leg
whole
to
ass."
be on, and she's sitting there, and like, you know, she knew
like
she
10,
was.
20 feet away
She had a nice little body. This is not a child. She had a nice little body.
Little
She's just
body?
showing me all the different angles.
No.
And you know,
Even dumbass Lalo knows
I
this
didn't
shit is
really.
wrong.
Wait, here, guys. This is the Grace sent this to her mom. Telling her mom. I forgot how bad this was, actually.
Oh yeah, glad you found
He
that.
sent to her mom, telling her to flick it. And then talking about Israel Palestine. Let me see. There was like
Shout out to Tropic Heat for walking all
there's
of
the
the
poop.
related
There was
material.
the poopy undies there.
Tropic, here's your moment, buddy.
There's Tropic's moment.
Shout out for all you.
Says the 14-year-old has a nice little body. Ben
And he
Thorp.
called her a woman too. No 14-year-old is a woman. This young woman, 14, bro, that's barely just hit puberty. The fuck is wrong?
Barely.
But like, I did not look. I'm not. You know, she knew she was.
Forget barely legal.
She had a
Barely
nice
legal.
little body. This is not a child. She had a nice little body.
Little
She's just
body?
showing me all the different angles. And
No.
and you know, I didn't really look, but like I didn't not look. I'm not gay.
I looked.
It was. I'm not really into that, but like, I'm not gay. You know what I mean? It's like the fruit was almost ripe on the vine.
She was JB.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was classic
And she's in this
JB.
kind of.
So yeah, what was this? And then yeah, see, this is what Ben does with his daughters.
Grace will wear a nice shirt
funny.
that'll bring him over here, and then we keep him over here. With,
I have never seen Grace as a yet one piece of really feminine lingerie, garters,
Grace,
and everything.
All right, Uncle Max, can we pop it?
That's a very good point. Fed Up, she says, and you can see Grace is used to hearing this from her father because it doesn't faze her whatsoever.
Of her own sexuality, even
Right.
wearing sexual clothing.
All right, Uncle Max,
Oh,
can we pop her cherry tonight? Can we just pop her
You
cherry?
think
on
you
the
know
internet?
I would love
everything.
to.
I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Okay, it's a dedicated group of fans.
Look,
Oh,
Grace, I see your tits. They look nice. I like to fondle you.
You're
At
welcome.
least
She's
you
still,
look
she's
feminine.
still a teenager in this, I'm pretty sure too.
Thank God, at least you look feminine.
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah, okay, but now she's acting like I have deflowered her on the
No,
internet.
this isn't a big deal. So, are you gonna bring the game to keep me on the stream, or this is just gonna be?
What do you need me to, Grace, to kiss your ass on stream? You sit there with your
No.
tits hanging out. or whatever you're in, like a bustier.
Well,
whatever it
well,
is.
Grace, let's see the whole thing. What do we got?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't know how to run his own stream.
No, your the rest of your outfit there. What is it? How, I mean,
Oh no, it's just the shirt. It's corset.
well, can we see it? Or
Let's
what?
see, because those fat book mommies are going to get very jealous, you know, Grace.
Sniping.
Why don't you send some of these guys? Call them out by name, Bash.
Well,
Call
why
them out by
don't you
name,
go
send
on there,
notes.
Grace?
It's his
Hey,
It's
Grace.
his Coomer Army. It's his Coomer Army.
Hey, Grace, why don't you go on
Yeah, but
there?
you're
your
Joan
big
of Arc,
egg
right?
And your little little perky tits sticking out, and go tell them to bring them over here and use some bait then. What do you think? I'm the bait to bring them over?
Yeah.
Go say, hey, if you want a real woman over here, come on over here. How about that? Why don't you lose your
internet?
That's right. I
Bring
put her
back
outside.
and get her to go, oh, Grace.
I mean, I'm open.
No, thing.
Oh Jesus
Like
Christ!
a
Do you
victim.
ever?
Like a
do you
victim.
ever?
Grace just needs to get on a plane.
You're gonna lose me. You're gonna lose me. I'm gonna leave
I'll
because
get
this
2
sucks.
weeks. Look at this. She already started it. See?
This
I will
sucks.
not
This is
have
game.
fun with men ever.
Oh my god.
Look, Formaxer, let's be honest, okay? She looks at her mother and goes, there's no way I'm ever going to end up like that, physically or... But it's absolutely guaranteed the way she's going. Now,
yeah, she wants to
so
remain
she,
that way.
like her mother, has maybe 5 to 10 years of this power that she has right now. But she thinks she's got the rest of her life in all eternity.
no,
Rest-
oh, no, it
for-
doesn't
that
work
all
that
these men are going to want to chisel away at this belt.
Garbage.
Grace,
It's a
we
way
got
to
guys
live.
coming over there. Put them up against the glass for the boys. Come on.
The pants are not.
Now,
helping.
Grace
They're-
has a nice body, but Grace doesn't use it. Grace stays in her house.
Grace, get something
I
instead
feel
of
like
those sweatpants.
I'll get something other than sweatpants. I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, please put on fishnet something.
Let's do a GoFundMe for a specific article.
Okay, that's fine.
No, Grace, AC/DC. Oh,
ACDC, what a boomer. What the hell? You can't get more because we tried.
That's it. Work for the boys.
Exactly, B-Bean. Even if it's all a joke, this is not how you behave with your daughter. Like, this is so over the line.
Shit. I thought that the panty. So there's another clip from another stream when they're on Hormaxers where he makes Grace lick her panties and then she starts crying on it. And she does that because she knows that Ben is watching and he's like all homies with Hormaxer and being like, yeah, Grace, come on, please the men, make the men happy. So she ends up humiliating herself and she starts crying saying this is humiliating. And then again, I already showed you earlier the clip of John talking to Darius, saying how Ben started grooming Grace around the age of 15. We have a clip of Ben saying that kids enjoy their sexual abuse. So let me play that one for you really quickly here. There's going to be quite a few building up to this November 25th stream that I'm going to be playing in a second.
And all these clips too, like what
This is
for those-
recent.
Yeah, but all these clips, for those of you that just found them in the last few days from LOLCOW, if you saw Grace today out there, everyone's talking about the pen. Grace sitting there sucking on this pen like it's a dildo, like the most basic, like simple a retard could figure out how to be sexual on cam. She did this series about calling everyone a hoe and judging people for being a hoe, but like what you're seeing Ben make her go through with Hormaxer, training her to perform sexually and like tease the men to get out there on the streets and, like he said, make her some money. That's what he's doing on lolcowlive now. That's how she ended up there today with that pen in her mouth, was from a very young age being abused like this. So any of you guys that are out there getting horny to it, better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because y'all got some sisters or nieces or daughters, and if some man ever did that to them and you weren't pissed about it, I don't know what to tell you, but you ain't like us, bro.
React to this. Most people who experience sexual abuse at a young age don't, a lot of them have positive feelings about, well, let's say sexual activity that would be considered abuse. I think
So, okay, wait, there's another one here.
I think a lot of those things are not really that traumatic.
Yeah. Some people handle trauma better than others. It's a spectrum like anything.
But you see, but you're assuming it is trauma. I don't think it's really trauma. I think that kids are quite sexual.
Yeah, isn't
And-
trauma the outcome though? I mean, that's
Yeah,
the thing,
like-
is it has to be something
for
that
a
you express,
minority,
and then
for a
it becomes
minority
trauma.
of people.
So there's that. Let's see. And then he says here that there's sexual tension when your daughter goes through puberty. This was on his Mr. Girl interview, which is really good. Mr. Girl almost got him to admit the incest stuff. I think it was it this one?
I agree with you. There's tension. There's frequently tension. I think this, a lot of people think it's controversial. I know you don't have kids, but I don't think it's controversial to say that when a daughter, for a man, when his first born daughter becomes a young woman, there's some sexual tension there.
She looks like a combination of you and your partner.
Right. And also she's now like she's a sexual person.
So then what is this one? I can't remember.
We first had our kids, and
that one we're gonna play later. And then I'm gonna show you finally. Oh, I just linked the wrong thing. Hold on. Let me find it really quick. I'm gonna show you a teaser. Here it is. To what builds up in the stream that we're about to go over. This is probably one of the last times in a while that I'm going to be doing one of these like red bar style timestamp review things. I've been saying for a bit, I'm not going to be talking about the Thorps as much. That's also why I'm kind of compiling all of this in one long stream. But this will be probably one of the last streams that I do timestamps of, but it's because of this clip.
When my dad leaves me for my little sister Maggie, I will understand because I've gotten fat and old, so I will understand that. Of course, he would pass me up for my cuter, hotter sister, and that's the way the world works. I'm so sick of women not taking accountability. Hashtag red pill, hashtag male cell, hashtag femcell, hashtag incel, hashtag based.
So you might think that she's kidding, but you'll see in the stream that she's not.
And what's crazy here, the context for this that you'll see later is that this is part of what she calls the daddy pill. Before she went on LOLCOWlive, they had been trying to, like Ava said, they started off, Ben wanted to be a philosophical debate bro, and they've been trying to come back around full circle to that for the past, 2 weeks now, week and a half, and they had been working towards that appearance on Fresh and Fit that we're going to get to eventually here. And I think they realized that selling the daddy pill, as they call it, with Ben's goo being oozed all over Grace that she would then share with the world once her brain was impregnated by his brainwashing butt worms, I think is what Tropic called it. But they wanted to sell this as a serious thing. They realized that no one would take them seriously, and so they raised a couple $1,000s off their fans, ripped them off, saying they were going to Fresh and Fit, canceled, and then LOLCOW themselves on the LOLCOWlive, hoping that if they deleted everything, we wouldn't expose it to you here.
So I'm gonna start with this timestamp. Says Ben's weird anti-mommy take. He's very anti-mom, and it's gonna build up. Okay, it's going to build up to Ben saying things such as having sex with your dad is better than having no relationship with your dad. So this is the buildup of the daddy pill
in their kids' lives. Actually, I don't think it matters that much if your dad's not around the first few years of your life. He should be around, but it's not that much his thing. A lot of times women just sort of take care of that. And then
well, it's like people forget like the first 10 years of a kid's life, really important to be around the mom. Everybody kind of agrees with that. That's true for both boys and girls. Yeah. But everybody's kind of forgotten.
Very beginning. I mean, it's like one of those things. It's like one of these.
Yeah.
From the first moment of conception, obviously maximally dependent on your mother, minimally dependent on your father.
Yeah.
And then right around puberty, the X gets crossed, and it goes in the opposite direction, such that by the time you're 18 as a boy, you should have very little connection with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Very little, not even like friends. I think it's like just move on, don't have any emotional attachment, and girls too. See her as like someone you don't want in your life. And
well, meddling. I mean, you can like your mom.
I don't know. I mean,
you can respect her and say she's like a good woman.
Sure, but it's almost like in the past. It's like you were a great mom. I'll never forget sucking on your titty, but like not really like besties. I don't think girls should be besties with their moms. Not a good idea. And I don't think boys at all. I think the thing with boys, like I really don't think they should have this way in which they rely on their mothers, and especially when they're dating. No, get mom out of there. She shouldn't know. She shouldn't know.
So I just thought that was like a weird fucking take that is just very obviously coded with the fact that Ben's eldest son and the mom are both against him. And then here he says that girls have a special or should have a special connection with their dad or something.
So
anybody that's stuck on mommy and daddy isn't someone I respect at all. I think almost everybody's stuck on mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem.
And usually in this case, get mom out of it or out of your head as far as mattering without necessarily like it's just like a disease she has. Okay. And then focus on your dad. Do everything you can to strengthen that.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't work, okay. For boys.
It's just so funny. His whole philosophy is centered around the fact that it's so narcissistic. I am the most important. All my kids need to listen to me and stop listening to their mom.
Them both. Move on. But for girls, like, you are really stuck. You really got, and you've got special connection with your dad, which is interesting because this whole like dads are suckers for their daughters thing. Well, that works. The girl can work that to her advantage, right?
Absolutely,
say,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But generally, I think men do not understand. Men just assume. I assumed it, but I didn't grow up with girls because I just had brothers and those half sisters. But like that was different dads, so I didn't really see it when they got older. Men just assume that daughters are going to like just sort of do that puberty thing, like, ew, I feel ugly. It's awkward around you forever, right?
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. Yes,
and that's not true.
Yeah,
maybe for a year it's a little awkward, and then once they come into their own as young women, a year or two, depending, they should very much seek the validation of their dads, and then all that dad-daughter dating stuff is great.
Yeah,
bring back the dad-daughter dates.
Bring back the dad-daughter dates.
Yeah.
I'll push back. Don't think acting this out was good for your kids/family.
Our kids, exactly.
I think it was great for our family.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was just.
It was great for her family that she got parentified. And they go.
I mean, it was terrible for the minor children.
Yeah,
and for
horrible.
But like, even if she's talking about herself, even if she thinks that like it was great for her and her dad, what is your definition of great? If being homeless, living in a fucking van, being known for admitting to being pedophiles and bragging about it, and talking about how you're a pedophile in the literal Greek sense, like, how is being famous for that winning? How is this good for? What is good to you people?
Coming into your womanhood, like testing out being a mom to your siblings and testing out being a wife to your dad, in the sense that like you're going to provide, you're going to test it out, cook him things,
what would
clean
the dad-daughter
things,
date
provide
be if not for
things. Right. Men and women being BFFs ignores our vastly different interests and seems more egalitarian. It also comes off as a daughter-wife thing.
Being a pseudo.
I don't know if this thing about men and women being best friends is wrong. I just would say that seems totally natural. That's the foundation of a marriage. Well, but like best friends with sex, obviously, which also then wraps in like the man is the authority, blah blah blah. But like, isn't that the core that you like each other? I don't understand. Like, if you say a relationship is, I mean, you could just like.
Well, maybe use BFFs in the sense like BFF is used by girls to say like, oh my god, BFFs, we're BFFs. So it's like a husband, feminizing of a husband to be like, oh my god, we have all the same interests.
So I'm just like,
either
blah,
with
blah, blah.
I'm okay.
And being a pseudo wife to your dad. Do you guys hear this distinction between learning to become a wife and being a pseudo wife to your dad? Not really. I think that's a distinction without a difference. I don't see what the difference is.
Yeah, you learn it by
one way is more provocative way of saying it, I guess,
like
but not
basically
really.
flirting. It's basically like flirting with your. It's like flirting with your dad, and your dad flirting with his daughter until she gets married. That's basically what it is. Flirting, playful.
Yeah.
And
You're
masturbating in the
playing at
window
it.
to their friends when they're in high school.
How else would you say somebody's supposed to learn to become a wife?
I like it's the answer to the thing of like, why would you raise a daughter? You spend all this time,
right? Being
and then some other guy gets to fuck her.
Being a dad is the ultimate. The ultimate.
And they get pause.
It's a good point.
And then some other guy gets to fuck her.
Like,
bro, and then some other guy gets to fuck her.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I was reading chat and I missed that, but when I initially watched this, guys, I was like, wait, some other guy. So you're
not just some guy, some other guy.
I'm reading into it. I'm reading into the semantics. I'm
not
doing
just
it.
some guy, some other guy.
Ben always takes these conversations that can be had, and then just takes it to that whole level where people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's always like the way that he chooses to phrase it. And this is why it's like you hear stuff like this, and I'm like, if we didn't give you the background context, and what's coming here, you'd be like, okay, like they just sound kind of like stupid and like what the fuck are you talking about? But like I can kind of get like I get what you're saying and like you could be saying it in a lot more of a normal way, but like but then it just goes to like these little Freudian slips or like these little things that he says. Like it's just these side comments of we're about to get to it in like 2 minutes here. That's but wait, I just want to play that one more time.
Become a
I
wife.
like it's the answer to the thing of like, why would you raise a daughter? You spend all this time,
Right, right.
and then some other guy gets to fuck her.
Being a dad is
and then some other guy gets to fuck her.
Why did I invest all that time if it wasn't going to be me? Ben Thorp, 2024, daddy pit.
Cuck. You're the ultimate cuck if you're a dad.
You got to pay for what was that little Simpson? Then her dad, thinks he's a jerk. Like, why should?
Then we go to
Friend,
357.
You're the one with the problem, not us. It's not. Whatever. Like I said, the relationship with the dad for both the boys and the girls is the most important affirmation that they're going to get. And otherwise, they're going to be searching for that affirmation in other places.
Yeah.
But you can say, oh, so you think that you should have sex with your dad to get the affirmation? If you want to be an idiot, you can go ahead and say that's what I'm saying.
If you want to go ahead and say like, well,
Okay.
couldn't there be
Wait,
attention
pause.
that way?
Do we have the clip
Sure.
handy? It's a famous one. I'm sure most people here have already seen it, but for the new people, do we have it handy of Grace saying, any girl out there that doesn't have a good relationship with their dad, I suggest you just go and suck his dick and that'll fix everything?
Yeah, that's at the beginning of the Shamu documentary, part 1 of
Yeah. So what she was just saying there was, should somebody say that? Not really. Like, bitch, you already said it, that you screamed it. That's how you got
Yeah,
famous
but
in the first place.
listen to what Ben says after that. So
Yeah,
Grace is like, yeah, so that's ridiculous. And then Ben's like, no, but actually, let's
But actually.
Let's play that again.
And otherwise, they're going to be searching for that affirmation in other places.
Yeah.
But you can say, oh, so you think that you should have sex with your dad to get the affirmation? If you want to be an idiot, you can go ahead
Well,
and
but
say that's
if
what I'm
you want to
saying.
go ahead and say like, well,
Okay.
couldn't there be attention that way? Sure. I think that's not ideal, but like, there's usually a big barrier there called the relationship with the. Oh, yeah. Is that a sincere? You think that's
No,
sincere?
they're being sarcastic. I was just sarcastically responding.
Yeah, because at least like, neither of them have kids. Neither of them are married.
Right.
So like, I don't know how it's, whatever. But like, that's also DQ for them giving advice.
Mhm.
But not necessarily, but it's not a big thumbs up. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if I think it's better. What I'm saying is it'd be better if that was what happened than that the connection didn't happen. Absolutely.
So if you guys, I had to leave the whole context in there. It's kind of, but I started at the very beginning, and Grace is saying like, oh, you can say, if you want to interpret that and be an idiot and say that like a chick should have sex with her dad, then go ahead and be an idiot. And then Ben is like, well, actually, and then does this long-winded thing of saying in response to that, he says,
Not necessarily, but it's not a big.
Exactly. That's a
I
crazy
think it's
thing.
better-
He just
wait, hold on.
He just spent the last 2 minutes.
Wait,
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
about to say it again. Hold on.
But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if I think it's better. What I'm saying is it'd be better if that was what happened than that the connection didn't happen.
So he says it would be better if that was what happened than if the connection didn't happen at all. In response to Grace, I would like to see if anybody else has a different interpretation of that. You can rewind and play it.
Yeah, I wanted to point out you were playing the whole context, and that's one of the things Ben relies on is he obfuscates by rambling on for so long, saying, "Well, if in a certain case, in this situation," he just says all these filler words so that by the time he actually gets to his point, it's so far disconnected and removed from what he said originally that like you don't really put 2 and 2 together until people start clipping things, and then they say, "Oh, it's out of context." The only context that's missing is you saying, like, but, when, well, duh, d, like." And so when we get to the long edit, the Jacinda response, the nice thing about that is I've taken the time to meticulously remove all of Ben's brain farts and tangents and uhs and ums and made him sound like a coherent person who you can actually understand their points. But for now, you have to either rely on clips or sit through a whole lot of quote unquote context that is nothing more than like an and
Yep. And then I have about 10 more minutes of this that I'm going to show you guys. I didn't write down a note for this, but I said 4:01:20 is the timestamp. Here we go.
You're gonna want your first man to be your dad,
right?
Right. So hopefully, so I mean, I just don't think that's a big deal. I think these
I
people are weirdos.
I
who
don't think
keep
you would have
saying
to.
that.
I don't think you would have to worry about that being a big deal. I mean, I guess people are saying.
Maybe the dad would take advantage.
I also think there's a lot of barriers
because the daughter
there.
would be younger, but like a dad to sexually take advantage of her daughter when she just does not want to, like I just don't think that can happen. Except for crazies.
I think why I saved this, I thought that addendum was interesting. That when he adds in when she doesn't want to. So it just, instead of just saying period, he's like, well, what if she wanted to? Like, I wish I could have been there and been like, what if she said she wanted to? Then would there be a problem?
I think there's a lot of barriers
because the daughter
there.
would be younger, but like a dad to sexually take advantage of her daughter when she just does not want to, like I just don't think that can happen. Except for crazies.
Right.
And then and it's also a denial of like, oh, like this sexual abuse just can't happen unless the victim wants it.
It's physically impossible. It defies the laws of physics. It just can't. It's like when Rich from HFF was talking about how people can't be sex trafficked. It's like not everyone that's in the sex industry is sex trafficked, but like sex trafficking is a thing that can happen. To say something can't exist, like that's just wild. And that's what Ben is doing here.
Yeah, the odds are much higher that if you're in the sex work industry, specifically like real life hookups, prostitution, escorting, you are much more likely to, and it's so funny too. I just want to address that really quickly because Rich always tries to paint me as being like anti-sex work and whatever. This has nothing to do with the stream. I'm just talking to Rich now, but like no, I'm not. It's just. It is objectively more, it's incredibly dangerous. And I don't think that it should be the ideal for anybody doing prostitution. I could see a different thing for maybe OnlyFans. I still am like, it's definitely not the ideal, but I'm not going to like really bash on that as much. I wouldn't do it, but I don't like judge people for doing it. It's more so, we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, no, just to summarize.
It is interesting that when Ben talks about it, he does say, you know, he would have to want it. But the way that he talks to Grace, in that she's, you know, sexually abused him and she's taken advantage of him and she's a bed bug, and she, like, he talks to her like she's the one that's kind of put all this baggage, put all this gross stuff on them, and he's just the victim of that. And he acts like he has no control in the situation. He has no say in the situation. So basically, if something happened between them, it would be her coming onto him. And that's the way that he treats her. So when he's saying, you know, something like that, if they didn't want it, he's basically saying to Grace, like, you wanted this in a way.
Mm-hmm. Her eyes are so dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very on point now.
And look at the maniacal look on his face. Just to compare and contrast, zoom in on one and then pan back from one to the other before you unpause it. Like, it's just so obvious in this particular moment where you paused. He's like full-blown mania, and she looks so dead in the eyes.
So, I mean, she's had to sit here for 4 hours, guys.
For 4 years.
Hours.
For fucking 20 years.
Yeah. Just being at the whim. And I think during this time she was sick too. But like, you know.
Well, he got some of his goo on her, and she had an infection from it, I believe.
Yeah. But here is this timestamp. I said, let it play for a few minutes. So let's see what
Like,
this is.
You look gorgeous to his daughter. And so that really fits you well, which is a way of saying like it looks good on your ass, or your tits are looking real good today. But
I don't do the
but is it
compliments.
wrong for a man to say like you look gorgeous to his daughter? And so that really fits you well, which is a way of saying like it looks good on your ass, or your tits are looking real good today.
I don't think anybody would say that's a problem. I just think people are just
Mackenzie, they're in their studio. This is not their old apartment. They have a studio that's non-residential. That's where they're at right now, but they can't live there.
Ben comes from a family with money, and he's wasted a lot of it, but some of what he's wasted it on includes a few real estate properties he still has access to, most of which he's either lost through bankruptcy. Well, I don't know if it was bankruptcy, but he just received money and sold, or he got kicked out of living there.
He gave all of the money to Grace. Actually, that's another. I should have mentioned that earlier.
Oh, the money that was supposed to go for child support for the kids?
Yeah, he sold all of his properties, and when the Courtney divorce started happening, he said, "You know what, Grace? you've been so good as a daughter that I think that you deserve literally all my money. I think you
And
deserve
all the kids'
all
money.
my money. Yeah. And so he transfers all of his money, the $100,000+ into Grace's name. The rest he has in cash or in gold coins and stuff that he can hide. And yeah, so then he gave it all to Grace and he says, "Oh, well, I'm homeless and broke. I can't pay child support." And now the ex-wife has to work multiple. At one point it was 3 jobs. I don't know if it's 2 now. The electricity was out at the house. They couldn't pay the bills. They didn't have hot water. And Grace and Ben, they didn't. It was in the video that I showed earlier, the one on Shamu's channel talking about Milo and Destiny. It's in the beginning of that video if you want to see that, but I don't want to get derailed from this here. Let this play.
A little bit porn brained, which is okay. I understand. I understand. It's very understandable, but I just think you guys are a little bit porn brained, and we have so few
in a sense,
examples of healthy families.
the daughter becomes
Yeah, it might be even more
also
than
like
that.
the mother's living through the dark.
I'm not exactly sure on the exact number if you're referring to that.
It's wild that they call everyone else porn brain when everything they talk about is a porn reference.
Yeah. Like during this daddy pill arc as well, I have a short on my channel of it. Ben, he extensively speaks about the daddy pill as his golden goo that he needs to spray all over Grace and humanity.
And saying like,
Guy really has a way with words.
the mother saying like, I raised such a wonderful young woman. Now I can kick back. She can take care of dad. Until of course she meets another man.
Yeah.
She's not going to be in any rush to get involved with. You don't think that's a problem? Because she's okay here until she really,
right,
is ready to do that.
Right.
Which she's going to have so many incentives to do.
Right.
You don't have to worry about her hanging around with her dad for the rest of her life.
Except for me. But it's different in my case because we're business partners as well.
You're my hoe. No pseudo.
No pseudo.
John Easton doesn't know how to spell the word pseudo, not even close. And yet he can remove it from all his future criticism.
Let's say we're porn brained. Would these audiences also be? Yes. So your message is still an issue in these audiences by your logic. Yeah, but if they were to make that point, I would just say like, well, you're porn brained. Like what I'm suggesting is not.
I can say
I'm
like,
not trying to say like it's pornographic.
I can say that there's tension from my. You don't have to be on your side. On my side, like if you've been looking at pictures,
there's a lot of tension on my side.
If you've been looking at porn, and like the ideal in porn is like a 17-year-old girl, and your daughter turns 17, that's a problem.
Yeah, and we also need to talk about that because it's not fair on both sides. When my friends,
it's objectively, this is just so bizarre to me because he genuinely means this. He genuinely means, because it's like, if it's your own daughter that you've raised since you're a baby, I don't think you're gonna feel that. Like that is not normal. But he thinks when he says stuff like this, he thinks that he's saying like this profound, unspoken thing that nobody else has. Yeah.
He's so lost in his own sauce that he believes that this really is like okay and normal. And because he's cultivated an audience of like total degenerates, he gets feedback that makes him think it's okay.
Exactly.
It's just wild.
Hit like puberty and
they're
they were
getting
like 15,
rewarded
16.
for it.
Their dads just treated them like
YouTube really needs to cut them
you're not a
off.
woman,
I don't
like,
understand how they're still out there.
like you're a robot.
I think my generation of men are like, I
to
can't
avoid
deal with
that,
that. I
to
just
avoid
can't
that.
deal with that.
It's a huge
but it's
problem.
in their brain.
It's a huge problem.
And you just got to work through it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's the biggest deal in the world if there's some tension there.
It's
I just think there's
inevitable.
so much health.
It's inevitable if that's what the porn standard is.
Yeah. And then you find out
You're saying like how,
society facilitates
so you're saying like what we're saying is like this is what should happen, but like once you've already
there's a problem with
ridden the cock carousel.
I bet for sure that like if you ask traditional people this, they don't even think about it, but that like a 14-year-old girl in like Middle Eastern culture is lauded by the mother as like a all of her skills by a healthy mother.
Yeah,
she's gonna make a great wife. She looks beautiful. They literally dress them up, and that a lot of times like they did play house this way with the dad, and the dad is like, wow, and like everyone's happy, right? And she's getting affirmed as a young woman,
right?
It's just
and
like you don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, Pot Hawkins is comment.
They just don't have anything else to talk about.
Pot Hawkins is obviously a long-time viewer. Everyone that knows has heard the story a zillion times before. They just loop on it endlessly, just loop on the same conflict. And every once a week, once a month, Grace will put out a video titled, "I finally figured it out." And then she'll come out and say, "It's all my mom's fault. I don't know why I didn't realize it before." For the past, like, however many years now they've been doing this. Like, it's just the same shit over and over and over again.
This is another thing that I forgot to show earlier. This has been, so I think somebody, I lost the audio, hold on. Somebody asking, like, well, hypothetically, this is his response to being like, well, hypothetically, if the allegations were true, hypothetically, would it really be such an issue? Because look at this.
I get the 15-year-old, hot, whatever you want to say, 7'8" for me.
Here we go, hold on.
Chick, this is what it is. The old bag gets old. I get.
What the heck? Uh-oh. Loading. Let me refresh this. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
I can still hear you okay.
Okay, good.
And shout out to Chad. I was just reading through chat. You guys are legends tonight. We got a really good group going on right now. I wish I was in there. It's hysterical when I get a chance to read what's happening. Shout out to all the legends.
Appreciate everyone that's watching and bearing through some of the technical delays. Here we go.
This is what it is. The old bag gets old. I get the 15-year-old, hot, whatever you want to say, 7'8" for me, 10, chick, to suck my dick happily, get rid of the old bag. She gets mad, takes the kids on her side.
It opened twice.
Right?
Shut up.
As like trolls herself into taking care of my kids. So me and my hot daughter can fuck with impunity because it's the state of Rhode Island.
The fuck?
Go on YouTube. I can do whatever I want, and I'm the Mac Daddy. Isn't that the
Bro,
problem?
did you just say that out loud?
You resent it. How am I not the ultimate baller? An old man, I don't have to work out. I don't need money.
Base dad.
I got pussy.
Wait.
Whenever I want it. And
Wait,
I
can you
also
pause this motherfucker for a second?
this piece.
Listen, Ben, nobody's jealous of you, bro. We have daughters, we have nieces, and if you teach some motherfucking scumbag, fucking 20 years younger than you, that he can do this to some young girl someday, and he does it to my child, bro, forget about just fucking eliminating him. I'm coming for you, bro. If I see you in my town, it's on site. Don't let me see you looking at any kids in this fucking town. But like, if I don't get you off of YouTube and you inspire someone to do some shit, I'm gonna have to hunt you down in a nursing home someday, son. Quit fucking around. Nobody's jealous. Stop teaching people it's okay to be pedophiles, you sick fuck.
You're supposed to watch this and then just say based Ben, okay? Like, take it from Grace. This is what you do. You go based dad.
Yeah, literally, you guys hear her say that? She's like, oh my god, dad, like, you're so
Based.
funny. That's so big.
Yeah, I'm not a degenerate. I'm not a retard, and I'm not brainwashed. So I can't agree. I can't co-sign none of this dog shit.
It's like, great, you didn't have to say, you could have just said nothing. You could
The only thing I'll co-sign for Ben is a
hype man. Or else if she's not his hype man, then he's gonna be like, you're not being pleasant today. And then it turns into another 8-hour long from sunrise to sunset emotional abuse situation. Deadass.
And for real, Keem, if you're watching all this, man, again, this is not something you want on your business taken on as a liability, putting this family on your platform. Even if this insanity weren't enough, like, they threaten to kill every fucking streamer that they work with who eventually realizes that they're sick and cuts them off. So the sooner you cut them off, the safer you are, bro. We're doing all this to try and save you. And also, any new viewers, don't feel bad.
I'm doing this. I'm only doing this because I just want the new people coming in to know. I don't have to.
Well, that's too. That's what I'm
have
saying.
an archive of all this stuff so that people coming in who might think, oh, they're funny, they're charismatic, they're doing a bit.
Well,
No,
when this stream is done, we're going to take this and edit it down into so that all these things are put together in a super neat way, so that there's
Yeah, but let's finish this. Let's finish this clip here. I want to play this.
Pussy whenever I want it, and I also convince this piece of ass that it's her fault, and she's not doing a good enough job. And that's not what your guys' problem is.
So that one's dark.
He's like a 60. Yeah, he's like a 60-year-old Andrew Tate, except he's doing it to his own fucking teenage daughters.
Yeah, and it's the way, like, the crazy, like, he's taking glee in this. It's like, his plausible, he's gonna say, well, obviously, I'm just kidding, but it's like, oh, did I miss I totally missed this super chat from Cutter. Thank you. But what is next
Yeah.
here? What is next?
He can try and say he's playing. He can try and say he's doing like a Howard Stern bit, but like, bro, you don't talk about your children this way. You don't make them do the things. You don't cross all those like.
I don't think even the edgiest comedian would think that that's funny. Not even the edgiest.
Even as a bit, saying this is how I abuse my daughter, and convince her this is my fault. Like, what the fuck, dude?
You know, people that make jokes about abuse that like go to that far edge never talk about their own family members who are on stream with them, showing it 12 hours a day, like some reality TV show that like can't be turned off.
And then here's another. This is the last clip in the like creepy stuff that they've said about kids. Well, there's actually a few more things, but this is before we move into the Jacinda thing.
Marcus played with the cat of the day before you even got to the Jacinda serial killer stuff.
He says, I thought it was crazy to compare them to serial killers and weirdos, but now I'm starting to see why that's the case. Well,
and you haven't even seen the worst of it yet. You haven't even seen the worst yet. It just keeps getting worse.
So this is I don't really know the context of this situation, but I had a few people sending me this from, I think, the predator catching community. Somebody who has done really gross things with children was let onto the Thorp streams, and someone makes a comment about it, bringing up what this person has done with young girls. And the Thorps, they don't kick off the person who has done these things, allegedly, but the person who brought up that they'd done these things. So they're mad at the person that's calling out this person for being a pervert. It's crazy. This is just a minute-long clip here.
Pussy's not everything.
Well, I mean, it doesn't sound like by aligning yourself with all these women, you've put yourself in a situation where you're confident sexually. You're playing with Legos and dating someone 30 years older than you. I mean, I'm just saying, you sound like a self-loathing male kind of.
Maybe your dad was right. If I had a son and he was 26 dating a 56-year-old and playing with Legos, I'd say he's a disgrace to my family.
Why don't you tell it? Why don't you ask him?
That's what I'm
how did
saying.
You run
You see
fantastic
what the
game
fuck,
on
man?
bitches
Hey,
where
Brandon,
you can get them to keep coming
how
back.
many
for
times
more
can your
instead of
penis
going
fall
like,
out
you're
on
a bad
accident
man,
in
you're
front
a
of a
piece of shit.
child?
So this person says, hey, Brandon, how many times, I guess this person, Brandon, RSO Brando, is up here. And then someone says, Brandon, how many times can your penis fall out in front of a child?
Why don't you ask
That's
him?
what I'm
how did you run
saying. You see what the
fantastic
fuck,
game on
man?
bitches
Hey,
where you
Brandon,
can get them to keep coming
how many
back for
times
more
can your
instead of
penis
going
fall
like,
out
you're
on
a bad
accident
man,
in
you're
front
a
of a
piece of shit.
child? Hey, Brandon, how many times can your penis fall out in front of a child on accident?
Oh, shut up, man.
No, we're not
So then she kicks the person that said that.
doing this stuff, guys. I know you guys all have this thing about this guy. I do not care. Like, I do not care about sexual drama. Call the police. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
I do not care.
She doesn't care.
Well,
She
wait,
don't care.
Didn't at one point, I feel like I don't remember who the overnight host was, but they used to let just random people host their channel overnight. Didn't some, not the host, but like didn't some guest that like came up on the panel like flashed child porn on the stream, and Grace found out about it in Discord and was just saying, fuck it, I don't care, who cares?
I wouldn't know about that.
I have seen the screenshots of the Grace
I
clip.
don't know the situation.
You can pull that up. That would be.
It would take me a second, but if you want me to, I can definitely grab them.
No problem.
Let me go look for it.
Also, if you guys want to join my Discord server, I have a whole Thorp archive with basically everything that I've posted and a bunch more. Just random clips that I get and like just good stuff if you want to learn more. But I have here this audio clip because we're going to be going into the Jacinda interview in a second here, the response to it. And I'm going to give you guys a teaser of what happens because basically their old neighbor reached out to me And she said, hey, like, I'm a fan of what you're doing, and I want to tell my side of the story because Ben and Grace have been on a tirade against her, slandering her, saying her address publicly because they live in a duplex, so they dox themselves, but they don't think about the fact that there's a single mom with kids also living there. And they have this huge beef that culminated in a physical fight. Who could have guessed that literally every single person in the Thorps lives has a problem with them? And yeah, so basically during this interview, it's one of the other most damning things ever because this person is not online at all. Okay, like this is just her firsthand experience. And Ben says some disturbing things, or she makes some allegations against Ben, saying some things about her baby daughter, which I will play for you in a second, and then I'm going to play their response to the interview, and because it's just wild, and then eventually the beginning of that interview will play. But first, let me just let you know, Ben said this about little baby girls before the Jacinda thing, who's the old neighbor. Jacinda's a neighbor, but let me play this.
We first had our kids, and you're changing. We first had our kids, and you're changing a little baby girl. The genitals are kind of surprisingly big, and they're in a certain sense exactly what porn wants, which is hair free, hairless, and stuff. So it is a little bit like you got to do a little bit of a second, like a double take to say, like, is it okay? You know what I mean?
So now let's move on to, let me find it here.
I just sent it to you backstage, and I'm sending it to you on DM on Discord now. I found the screenshots.
First, I'm just gonna play.
Somebody could compare a child's genitals to.
It's
like. It makes me want to puke. It really does. It makes me like want to lose my dinner.
So this is a little teaser to the interview with Jacinda here, and what happened with Ben and her baby.
Into the bedroom, his 10-month-old girlfriend, Ben, stated how he wanted to take my 10-month-old daughter into the bedroom, his 10-month-old girlfriend, into the bedroom and take a nap with him.
You were saying you had a 10-month-old girlfriend and this and that. Remember that?
And see, and that's another thing. Gracie just said you said that. I said that in the car. That's weird as fuck. My daughter's not your fucking girlfriend.
Oh my god, I totally forgot to bring this up too, because there's so much lore just with Ruby, but Prawn is right. I just need to interrupt this and say they also weaponized Ruby's stalker, and they were egging him on and trying to be like, yeah, this is what you need to do to get Ruby to finally reciprocate, and they were trying to be friends and platform her stalker. Back to this though.
Come on, listen. No, come on, nothing.
Oh, give me a break. I have a 10-month-old black girlfriend.
No, right. Permission.
Light, bro. That's what she means.
No, Gracie. I'm gonna stand up.
Light. That's not.
I don't care.
Okay.
And so I also want to mention that Jacinda, and it's crazy because the Thorps, they try and weaponize this against her, as you'll see in their response to the interview that I posted with her. But they weaponized the fact that her dad, she said, I don't know how much I want to, but there was a similar situation between her, and I think she's open about it in the interview, actually. So there was a similar situation between Jacinda, allegedly, her dad and her dad sexually abused her, so it's very close to home for her, and she actually ended up being able to send her dad to prison for what he did to her. So it's very close to home what is happening literally right next door to her. She had to live through that trauma herself, and so if she seems a little bit overreacting, which I'm sure many of you won't even think that that's overreacting because that's fucking crazy to say that you want to be alone. This creepy guy wants to be alone in the room with the 10-month-old with his 10-month-old girlfriend. But it's a sensitive topic for many people. So yeah, let's get into read chat for a second here. Actually, Ava looks like a Russian. All right. Gagadila. Keem is fast AF, boy. I had to Google map. Has Keemstar, a kid behind camera, said anything about this stuff? People should send this stream to them. I have not heard them make any statements on it yet. Grace isn't going. Yeah, she's never. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later, guys. We'll get to that soon. Best believe Grace is never getting on Fresh and Fit. She was never going to get on. I had a phone call with the recruiter.
Do you want to talk about that before we get into the Jacinda thing, so we can end with the Jacinda thing, or just a thought? Because that might be the most powerful thing, and it is kind of tied together with the Keemstar thing, how they got here at this point.
I already have it like laid out and mapped out. So, well, okay, actually, yeah, we'll just talk about that now. So basically, what happened with the Fresh and Fit stuff is that Grace basically told her entire audience that she was going to be going on the Fresh and Fit podcast, that it was confirmed, and that she needed to raise $2,500 for it. She raised this money, and she even said this. Let me pull it up for you.
I believe it was just so we don't get misquoted. I think it was just short of 2,500. Didn't she get like 1,900 or something like that? 18, 19?
Yeah. That was the goal, though, because behind the motherfucking scenes, we knew the whole time that she wasn't going to get on. So she actually, here, I'll send this. XP posted in my Discord. He said, Grace spent a week scamming her simps, raising money for a trip that she knew she would never take, go to Miami to get on the Fresh and Fit podcast. In the end, her husband, Father Ben, was so old and broken down, there was never any chance she would be able to leave his pee and poop bottles unattended or all of his cigarettes unrolled. If she doesn't refund the nearly $2,000 she scammed from her simps, that's not a good look, because she made this announcement today. Ava was right. She says, I guess now is the best time to say it. I decided to postpone my Fresh and Fit appearance to focus on lolcowqueens. I canceled the flight. I have a much better chance of succeeding on this show. So the thing is that she had court. I don't know how much she knew about whether or not she was not going to be able to get on, but Darius and I both knew for a fact. I had a phone call with the recruiter, and they're like, they're not going to let her on because a bunch of people were letting them know about it.
I was wondering why you were so confident she was not going on Fresh and Fit. You said, Grace, are you going to refund the donations if you don't get on Fresh and Fit? And she's like, of course, because I'm getting on Fresh and Fit. And you seem so damn confident. And honestly, like, when people see this, when they see her change of plans, are like, this makes sense. Like, LOLCOWs is bigger, Fresh and Fit, is a small chance of success, and LOLCOWs or lolcowqueens is a huge chance of success. So it kind of makes sense why she makes that decision. But if she knew the whole time she wasn't getting on Fresh and Fit, and that was a scam for donations, that's something separate. So you don't know if she knew for sure, Ava, if she was getting on or not.
I wouldn't know that. All I know is that I spoke to the recruiter 2 days ago, and they said that they're just not going to. They were like, "Yeah, I'm just not gonna. Like, I'm just gonna go with her."
They were smart enough to do the research and find out who they were, unlike Keemstar, who apparently did no research and doesn't know things that were showing on.
Reacted the way that she did because she was provoked. The Thorps were down. I don't know what you're talking about.
The other thing I want to say to people that were asking about whether or not, they ever would have gone, Ava mentioned a couple things. The court dates is one of them. And the other thing was, like she mentioned, that post of mine that she was reading, the pee and the poop bottles. Ben requires Grace, doesn't require her, but he demands that Grace take care of him hand and foot.
Yes.
Like he's an invalid, disabled, handicapped, paralyzed old man. And Grace even admitted when she was doing her stream today that she's clingy and she's attached to him and she didn't want to leave him. She tried to cope by saying, just so we're addressing her defenses, because she did already try to make the case, but these are easily dismissed. She said that she's clingy and that she was going to go up until the last second, and at the last second just decided to bail, instead stay home with daddy and take this road trip. I think she knew.
I think she knew.
I think she knew this all along, not just the court dates and not just the medical stuff and not just the fact that they've never been separate for more than 1 hour. And that was only once.
Well, she went on a trip once. She went on a trip to the West Coast. That's when I met her. And
but yeah, but that was years ago.
Super hard for Ben.
I'm saying the last few
years
they've been separate. It was the Ruby had the intervention.
They literally.
Sorry, Ava, continue.
They had a court date because I was also like, wait, Ben is gonna take her to like this like middle of the night train when they have court in the morning on December 4th. That's a reason that made me also think, like, even before I knew that they weren't going to let her on Fresh and Fit, I was like, this just seems suspicious to me. Like, for her to be away for 10 days from Ben when he literally demands that she waits on him hand and foot. Like, he says when Grace wanted to stay at Ruby's for one night, he was like, well, who's gonna make me dinner? He acts as it. He literally has said to her,
"Who's gonna roll my cigarettes?
He did say, "Oh, I guess I'll starve for a few days."
Yeah,
and Grace is just like, "You can order food."
And people think that we're joking about the pee bottle. Like, this is a real thing that he's infamous for. He claims his back is so bad that he can't stand up to go and pee, and so Grace has to empty his pee bottle.
It's because he lays around all the time. Like, that's why. Like, he purposefully lives this.
Oh yeah, these aren't real ailments. No, but
yeah,
like, he literally does have a real pee bottle. It's not for me. We're not just some of the guys. Like, it's real.
We
Grace
got
today. Sorry, Grace.
Sorry, I just wanted to say we got another super chat for $2 from Viridian. He says Grace did mention it on stream. She's keeping the money. Go ahead, no.
Grace said today she's choosing to believe that people were donating for her success rather than Fresh and Fit in particular. So she's not going to refund the donations, which I think is probably true in a majority of the cases. But there were some people that were really excited just to see her on Fresh and Fit. If it was a whole scam, I think very few donations would have ever happened there. So it's
by her standards,
did she know or did she not know? And
by her standards, she was holding you to account for going to Vegas and doing exactly what you said you did, just because she felt like she wanted to see something different while you were there. So if she thinks that, like, holding streamers to the letter of the law, like what she was literally just doing last week, her most popular recent streams are spurging out, yelling at you for not being as cool as her in her delusional mind, and like saying that's a scam. And now she's being like, well, no, they just donated because they wanted me to have their money.
Yeah, basically what happened is she's calling us scammers for going to Vegas and not like doing the content. Like, we did content every day, but she was like, oh, it wasn't fun enough, so you're scammers for that. But then she literally says this, guys.
And by the way, it was fun.
Wait. Let me just play these clips here. Okay. She literally says this.
Well, hey Grace, are you willing to refund all the money you received for Fresh and Fit if you don't appear on it? There he is.
Grace, are you willing to refund all the money you received for Fresh and Fit if you don't appear on it? What if somebody that literally donated like $100 under the pretense of, hey, I specifically want to see you do this daddy pill thing on Fresh and Fit as you've been advertising for the past week? And she says,
the fact that you're so invested in what I do 2 years later, of course I would refund.
You didn't answer my question.
Of course I would refund.
Of course I'll refund. Of course. She also said she'd pay this person, that person, and 100 other people back the $100 that she borrowed for a hotel room every time she scammed one of them in her Discord. And this is why we're warning new people, is because they do this to new people. They're able to play like they have this sob story, and they have all these gypsy grifts that they run. And they're constantly borrowing $100 from all these different new people. People show up and they feel bad. They donate a couple $100 until they realize that they're getting ripped off and that this is all a scam. And then they just go on to the next new person. So that's why we're trying to warn new people out there. You really, guys in the community, if you're seeing this, not everyone will. So you really got to spread the word, because this is just the tip of a tip of a tip of an iceberg. Like,
Esoteric Hormone, he says she claims to be going to Vegas. I think that she's canceling the Vegas thing too, which doesn't make any sense.
Canceled the Vegas thing.
Yeah, because that wouldn't get. And it's so funny because she's like, "Oh, well, we're canceling it because we're going to South Carolina to do this LOLCOW thing." But it's like, you could have done both. Like, you don't need to refund the Vegas thing. That's why I'm like, that's another reason why I'm like, why are you just using this as a grand sweeping excuse to cancel all of it? That is a week. That's over a week after your your whatever you're doing with Keemstar. So there's just a lot of sus things. And then also even Lalo, her biggest simp, who literally slept in a bed with Ben and Grace. He's right there, the one smiling. He slept in a bed with Ben and Grace in the RV, and just got humiliated by them, made fun by them the whole time. Even let me find it here.
People who don't know the lore on
It's like saying that it's scammy.
It was a scam. Like, yeah, you got your asses on a plane and got to Vegas and you didn't do shit. That's way more of a scam than what I'm doing.
So, okay, wait, okay, so it's not even a doubling down. Whatever. Okay, so Grace is not doing a double down. Or no, because I was expecting Grace to be like, yeah, whatever, it's going to be worth it. But she's saying, like, it is so worth it that actually it's not even a betrayal of the content, which is retarded. But okay, I don't care. I respect the grift because niggas got to do what they need to do. And I'm a team player because when you think about it, this LOLCowlive, whatever, that's going to be less interesting than the IRL. But you know what? Fuck it then. Fine. Okay, I would have loved to see the IRL of Lauren de Laguna being like, Grace, you should leave your dad as she has you hostage in her fucking apartment or whatever. That would have been good content. Or Pixie or fucking Trader Raid, all these like Destiny, not Erudite, all these types, all these, and then Grace could press them on like, oh, you had a threesome with Destiny, whatever else was in the leaks. God forbid, I saw some of that actually.
Wasn't
anyway.
Pixie in that?
So even Lalo is like, it would have been good IRL content. And then this is Grace addressing it. How do I get out of this?
Yeah. I think he had a threesome with the Trader Raid bitch called Erin, and then
1 second. Here we go. Then there's this one of Grace.
I'm not saying I'm not going to go on Fresh and Fit, but I'm just saying, like,
I'm not saying
I'm not.
You're not going on Fresh and Fit, Grace. I will bet you the entire. I'll say, you know what? I'll never bring up the fact that you said that you would refund all the donos. I will never bring that up again if you get on Fresh and Fit, but you won't. You're not going to get on it. She's
saying that this LOLCOW thing is going to make it more likely for her to get on because people will start taking her seriously, and then she'll be able to sell her new. They want to be Jordan Peterson and his weird daughter, or Epstein and Maxwell. They have all these obsessions with the most fucked up people.
No, you're
LOLCowlive. If they did LOLCowlive right, and it was the best case scenario, they would have a bad reputation to not be taken seriously to sell philosophy. But like the fact that they're going to get absolutely like humiliated once more people hear about them and then come looking for more info on them and discover this and all for nothing analysis, research videos, and Naptown's compilations and Shabu's documentaries. Once they start digging into her, it's going to make it even harder for her to get on. She'll never get on Fresh and Fit.
If apparently your audio drops and people are asking you to repeat what the recruiter said.
What the what?
During the clip, it was cutting out, but when we were talking, it was fine.
Oh.
Just for a little bit, just like half of it.
The recruiter was just like, yeah, I'm not. The recruiter was just like, yeah, I'm not going to let them on. I'm not going to let her on. She can come and waste her time, and I'm not going to answer her again. So I think that it was maybe after, like, she had initially talked to Grace and scheduled it, and then a bunch of people started messaging her and because Grace started posting everywhere that she was going to be doing the Fresh and Fit. And so then people reached out to this person and then she was like, oh, never mind.
No, there is a reason I can't go on Fresh and Fit because I don't have really a lot of money right now. I was planning to go on.
Yeah. See, this is what makes me think that she knows that she wasn't going to be let on as well. Because she says, I don't have a lot of money. You just got a bunch of these donos. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to get access to them. You won't get access to them until the end of the month. But, like, that was the...
But if it's going to turn into a success for you, then you'll make that money back.
Yeah,
you'll make that money back. And she actually burned $100 canceling the plane ticket.
Yeah, she borrowed money to cancel.
She did that on Street
Fresh and Fit
Day.
was like in the works before LolcowQueens was ever part of my reality. And so I was planning, because I don't have a lot of money right now, I was planning on going down there and couch surfing and going on this one podcast and then trying to get
crazy to me that she said she needed to raise 2,500 dono goal to couch
just
surf
to couch surf.
well,
And she was talking about it like it was a huge adventure. Now she's making it seem like a half.
For three people, me, Prawn, and Ruby, we went to Vegas and got a hotel, food, rented a car, everything. All we needed was like $1,100. That's all that we raised.
Yeah, but she needs a salon trip for her hair to make sure that it doesn't look like what it looks like right now. So maybe she was raising for that as well.
The sarcasm was so deep, I almost missed it. No, I love how deep the sarcasm cuts. I almost lost that one. That was hardcore.
So, but yeah, let's get to the Jacinda thing now. Put it in the private chat. Here we go. All right. So, did you link it in the back chat?
Are you talking to me about the?
Yeah.
The CP and the
No, the Jacinda interview.
No, I linked it in your. Well, hang on, I can link it in the back chat. Give me 1 second.
Or I can go through our DMs. Hold on.
Daddy says so. Fresh and Fit isn't going through. No,
it's not going through.
Not only is not going
It's
through
never.
now, it was never going through.
Yeah, it was never going through. Bombshell. Oh, that's the C. Oh, I see. Okay. 1 second, guys. Is it this? No, that's Mark Fusion. Here we go. Okay.
I just DM'd it to you on Discord. It should be at the bottom of our conversation.
Boom. Okay, thank you, XP, for editing this. He took out a lot of the yapping and tangents, even though it's basically what you're gonna see here is because I showed you guys about 10 minutes ago the Jacinda. There's a teaser of the Jacinda interview, and it's bad. It's very, very, very bad. Very bad. Okay.
Yeah, this is basically
they title this stream. They title it the response to the Jacinda thing, and then they don't respond to it at all the entire time. They just let it play, and then go and smoke a cigarette and talk about how Ben has an admiration for serial killers.
Basically, they went on for 75 minutes, and when I edited out all of the ums and the likes and the thuds and the random tangents that had nothing to do with anything, it got down to about 45 minutes, and that was the point where Ben went on this schizo rant about racism for like 20 minutes, and then he talked about his favorite serial killer and how every woman should be locked up in a basement by a serial killer and like have nothing to look at but a list of rules on the wall all day every day to like liberate them from feminism's enslavement. And you'll see for yourself, but like all these things are like, he never mentions Jacinda, but like this is a video titled My Response to Jacinda's Allegations about what I did and said about her 2-year-old child. And he's talking about how just racism and women need to be locked up in dungeons. And then eventually, like Ava was saying, they get to watching the first 5 minutes of this hour-long interview that Ava did, and they don't even watch it. They just like turn it on and go outside to smoke a cigarette. And then all of a sudden Grace comes running in like 5 minutes into it, 6 minutes into it, and hits the pause button. It's like, relax, guys, I promise I'm going to respond. And then you'll see what happens, but they basically spend 5 minutes dilly-dallying, avoiding it, and then 5 minutes rage quitting. Not to spoil the surprise, but like I said, the only thing that's been edited out is just the ums and the thes, so that it's like a coherent sentence that like actually is logically understandable in English.
Yeah.
So
Marcus says, yeah, I was there chatting this stream. I asked Grace, are they going to cover it? And they said that there's no point in covering it.
Oh yeah,
no point.
He freaks out on chat when he for those of
they
you that watch
slandered
this
Jacinda for like streams before this. They have
for anyone that was there for that stream, he basically spurred out and called everyone in chat losers for like asking him to like respond to these allegations about literal child abuse. And like, so if you were in that chat and getting yelled at, here's your comeuppance getting to see Ben exposed for this fucking shit. And he deleted it off of his channel, like along with a lot of the other things they deleted because they're ashamed of it. So here you go, folks.
I'm gonna let this play. Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to thorpTV. I'm your host, Grace Thorp.
There's also a good chunk of Ben racism in
Can you
this.
do it on 1.25 or 1.5 at the most? 2x is a little bit fast for it.
This is 1.5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, Jones, Tuesday, September 3rd, 9 to 2 p.m. I look like a battery victim.
And she says that I look like a battery victim. That's actually right after Ruby found.
No, this was. I think this was actually a month before that, a month or two before that. Because I was sitting on this. I edited. It took a while to edit this, and then we were sitting on it for a while.
Oh, okay.
Time to bring it out. This was September 1st or
okay.
September 1st. You released the interview, and September 3rd she did this video. But she will here, as you're about to see. She's definitely making a reason beating her up because she's about to say. Turns out, when you have a big brush like this and a little eye like this, it's not a good look. So just start it over from the beginning.
I'm pretty sure that this does correlate with the Ruby thing.
I believe the timing is September 3rd, but
yeah, or so the beginning. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Yeah,
matter.
he's beating her up plenty, I'm sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to thorpTV. I'm your host, Grace Thorp, aka Jones. Tuesday, September 3rd, 9 to 2 p.m. I look like a battery victim. Turns out that applying eyeshadow with this big of a brush when you have small little eyes like me is not a good look. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's like, I don't know why she wouldn't just remove the makeup. To me, it sounds like she's covering for her dad, personally.
But that's not what's important tonight. That is not what's important tonight. What's important tonight is we are going over the Jacinda interview that Ava G posted on her channel a few days ago. But because I've been asleep for 4 hours or so, mommy is a little bit just, getting her feet back on the ground. We are going to be going over to, the one and only John Galt, the urban landlord, to get some panel time in to wake mommy up. And then we're going to go over the interview. So maybe like half an hour of this, and then we'll get into the interview. But mommy needs to get back in her tea. Mommy is not awake, like online right now. Oh, here he is. Hey man, if you want to come on here, I don't know if you're on John Galt, but if you'd like to come talk, sir.
So it's a black guy in chat, which is gonna trigger Ben to go on certain tangents.
The reason I was going over there was essentially to poach you for this. So if you'd like to come on, I have some very juicy sort of beef with my ex neighbor who's a black single mother, and I think you might find it interesting.
Yeah, Bob, it's not enjoyable going on after a while. It's like, yeah, it's not very enjoyable going over this, but like it does feel like a duty at certain points. There are a few other channels that cover it, but
she gave to one of our haters about
I'm ready to move on after this.
Us being her neighbor.
Unless something super crazy happens. I always have to add that addendum, but yeah.
An interview she gave to one of our haters about us being her neighbor.
And correct the record. So if you'd like to join me for that, just come to John Galt. No. Hi, Dad. Did you mean to come on?
Great.
Hi.
I'm not here for the video.
Your glasses. Okay. What's up?
Well, yeah, I'm not here like as a visual person.
Okay, I'll just full screen myself. You're just audio.
All right. So what's up?
Sir came over to my chat. You know the guy Sir that Ava talked to.
Yeah.
I asked him on the stream to review the Jacinda thing, but he said he'd wait for me over at John Galt's. So I guess I have an appointment over there, which is it's fine by me.
Yeah, a lot of black people, they feel like they need to be in a black people's space, and you got to come see them because they're afraid of white people and that they're going to get like a KKK kind of experience.
Yeah.
I guess from talking to white people in a non-safe space, it makes them like pussies in my opinion. But I guess it's not really like fear; it's just preference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then again, they don't really want to live in neighborhoods with each other, so I don't really
King TL says I ain't afraid. It's true.
King TL is in North Dakota, so he's been around some white folks.
Yeah. But yeah, they
But
tend to be very conservative.
A lot of black people, yeah, they're just socially very conservative, even though from afar we look at them and say like, well, they're not really conservative at all. They're crazy. But like within their own thing, they're very conservative. I used to go to black people dances, like people like clubs and stuff and like frats because I wanted to hear like rap music back when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tune I was in my like MC Hammer mode. So I had them kind of pants that have that like
the swishy stuff in the middle?
Yeah, like so they're very, very flexible. And I just wanted to do my hammer time stuff, like the Running Man and all that stuff. And they would give me some space, but it's weird because I knew a few black girls from the college, and they would be like super friendly with me, like in college. But at the black people thing, they would kind of act like they didn't know me, but then also, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like this thing of like, no, they don't really know how to.
Anything that you guys wanted to say while I was using the bathroom?
Yeah, I think that this is just an example of something that happens every second stream, which is something that could get somebody banned from YouTube, which is why I'm actually very excited for Ben and Grace to blow up. Because if they blow up over this LOLCOW stuff, YouTube will actually take notice of this stuff.
Yep.
Like, I don't want them to be able to say this stuff without anything to happen, because it's fucked up, man. And the fact that when they blow up, they're not going to be able to say this stuff. They're not going to be able to say this stuff on
Mhm.
lolcowqueens. They're not going to be able to say this stuff in their own channel if it does blow up. So there you go.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I haven't thought about that a lot, but yeah, I don't know. That's another conversation of like, is it actually good if these people get bigger? Because on the one
I think it's
hand,
going to be the best, worst thing that's ever happened to them.
yeah. I mean, it's like the thing of, the typical lottery winner. What happens is there's people call it the lottery curse of you think that you're winning. And then usually these people, I think there's like a huge suicide rate, a much higher suicide rate among people that end up winning the lottery because they can't handle the consequences that come with that level of money, and they end up spending it wrong, or people find out and it creates other problems in their lives. So like it's a blessing that ends up being a curse for most people. There was a chat that I highlighted, I can't remember, but I'm gonna keep playing this here.
Because if a black girl's with a white guy at an all black people thing, of course,
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
racism is so boring.
you're, even though I wasn't with these girls, you know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah,
like, don't
yeah,
take
yeah.
our sisters, don't take our sisters, because they're so
Yeah.
they're so insecure. Black men are so insecure
Very
about
insecure,
their attractiveness, you know what I mean, to women,
Mhm.
for good, and for
Yeah.
good reason.
Yeah.
But I wasn't coming there to coach their bitches. I was just coming there because I wanted to like dance better than they danced to their own music. But it was like just so.
Shit, I was muted. This is on 1.5 speed, so it makes him sound like more intelligent and coherent. But like, literally, imagine listening to this live. It's like, yeah,
Play
so
it on a
I
speed for a
dance
minute.
for the
Let 'em hear
black
it.
people. Yeah, I'll do that for a minute. Actually, I wanted to dance for the black people.
That's why I was saying at most like 1.25 is the fastest it should be played.
Okay.
Takes the edge
Even though I
off.
wasn't with these girls, you know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah,
like, don't
yeah,
take
yeah.
our sisters,
This
don't
is
take our
normal
sisters,
speed
because
now.
they're so
Yeah.
they're so insecure. Black men are so insecure
Very
about
insecure,
their attractiveness, you know what I mean, to women,
Mhm.
for good and for
Yeah.
good reason.
Yeah.
But I wasn't coming there to poach their bitches. I was just coming there because I wanted to like dance better than they danced to their own music. But it was like just so.
He's such a narcissist.
I didn't
I
know
just
the
wanted
white
to dance
movies
better
back
than they
then. It
could
was,
dance to their
late
own
80s,
music.
early 90s.
Show them up.
There was some
Like, Ben, forget about your delusions. Now
I
you're
would
just
love to see.
great hip hop, but the white people just weren't aware of it.
He literally said he was in his MC Hammer phase.
So yeah, I mean, I might have a hard time convincing Sir to come over. I just think they tend to find, even online, they find
Thanks,
spaces
Marcus.
they're comfortable in, and they're very hesitant
Well, but they
to move.
but it's a funny thing. I'm not trying to put blacks down. It's just different, you know what I'm saying? But like they really enjoy the freedom of a non-black space because you don't have that kind of like everybody judging you all the time for whether you're true black. They'll just say like over here, our people's joke is like you're
100%.
subhuman, you're gonna steal stuff, right? It's just the kind of standard stuff, but like
Someone says, bro, Mandalorian is funny in the chat. Do you think his philosophy classes were just him talking about himself? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
I don't think you take it personal because it's just like standard.
Probably
sort of,
talks
like,
about his
racism.
marriage
You know
trauma.
what I'm saying? Like he'll come over and and they'll be like, "Oh, he's trying to mac on you, Grace. Don't you? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you looking to smash," which is fine. Because I think it's just like different. I just the thing about black folks sometimes it's like you say like I mean, we lived in the hood, right? And it's like it's so boring. It must be so boring being you all the time. Like you're like navigating the ghetto. Like we're just here for a little bit and we don't give a fuck. And we get in the car and we can go to a white space and then like that's more of our home than the several illegitimate black children that were born in the late 80s, early 90s. And they've never met Grace.
Wait, pause right here.
Big if true. Huge.
Okay, and like when you restart this, rewind it 10 seconds, let it go again. But like he's about to admit to having hooked up with a black girl one time, and the look on Grace's face, she looks so disgusted. And I don't even think, I mean, Grace has definitely said a bunch of ridiculous nonsense about how she's a superior Aryan queen and all sorts of nonsense like that. even if Aryans were superior, she would not be superior to anything. But like, I don't even think it's the racism. I don't think she's bad that her dad was with. Like, she looks just genuinely jealous that he's talking about being with another girl. You'll recognize it on her face, and they zoom in, and then after that, there's he asks her. He makes this double entendre where he's like it's just a. But the problem with hooking up with people with different races is that it's just a crapshoot. I mean, what do you call it? Mixed race? Is that the right word? Crapshoot. That's the joke he was trying to make. Crapshoot. So let it roll.
Okay, here we go. I'm speeding it up a little again.
That's more of our home than the several illegitimate black children that were born in the late 80s, early 90s.
Hold on. I'll do it normal for this next 10 seconds.
And we don't give
Sorry, the audio is the audio is shitty on their end, not ours. So sorry about that. Sorry to make out.
And we get in the car and we can go to a white space, and then like that's more of our home than the several illegitimate black children that were born in the late 80s. Here all the time. Like, you're like navigating the ghetto. Like, we're just here for a little bit and we don't give a fuck. And we get in the car and we can go to a white space, and then like that's more of our home than the several illegitimate black children that were born in the late 80s, early 90s, and they've never met Grace.
Big if true. Huge if true.
I was only with one black woman, but she was half black. She was gorgeous. I'll tell you. Sometimes the mulatto thing, it's like a crapshoot, you know. It can be, or is that the right word? Mixed race. It's like a crapshoot, you know. It can be, or is that the right word? Mixed race, as you're supposed to say. It can be really great, and it can be like just ugly as fuck. And it's just like an experiment, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's definitely true.
So
Scott dude is in the back.
That zoom right there was my favorite edit.
Yeah,
One of my top 5 favorite edits of this entire thing. Just the blank look on her face when she's thinking like, crapshoot? Wait, is that what you call it? She doesn't get the joke. She doesn't get the racist joke there.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Controversy.
Good. How are you doing, Scott? I'm just here talking with my dad.
Do I look like your dad? I don't think so. Maybe just a little extra. I got a little
Oh, you want to pause here?
Wait, TK's light just went.
Pause here. Okay. So yeah, when you restart, like rewind like just 10 seconds here. Scott just joined, who's a pay pig, and TK just joined as well. And they're done doing the racism bit now. And now they're going to start talking about the serial killer stuff for like the next 15 minutes. And this is where it gets really dark. The first stuff was kind of like crude and offensive and like whatever, but like edgy jokes are edgy. Like he's obviously embarrassing himself, but that's nothing compared to what's about to happen. This next 15 minutes is insane, especially when you consider the fact that this is his response to Jacinda accusing him of trying to be inappropriate with her 2-year-old child. His answer is, you're just an uppity feminist bitch who needs to be locked up in a dungeon until the fucking desire for freedom and safety for your family is beaten out of you.
Mm-hmm. Sorry guys, if I'm laughing, I'm just laughing at the chat. You know, they're so funny.
Play this next section, the next 15 minutes. Play this at 1xp.
Yeah, this is the wildest shit because I've watched this before, and it's so. If you can just mute when you're not talking though, it's the echo. But it's so funny because not funny, but just crazy because it starts out as you think that he's joking, but like he just keeps on doubling down and literally saying, I'm not kidding. And you know, he always has that plausible deniability, but like we see everything else that Ben believes and just the culmination of everything. He's not fucking kidding. My ethnicity is white. A lot of people think that I'm mixed race. But I am not. Like, they think I'm like a quarter Asian, but I'm just white.
When you play this section here, this next 15 minutes, this is like the really dark, deep stuff, and you don't want it to go by too fast. Let this play on just normal speed, because this is the really fucked up shit right here.
Yeah, personally.
Well, who is contending that you look like me?
Yeah,
I saw in the chat. It's a young Ben or something in the chat. And I was just like, I don't see it because I got a little extra. I got a little extra pounds.
Wait, TK's light just went out.
No, you fucking nutbag.
Is that two? That's 2 lights that went out, TK?
King, is that where you keep the bitches that you drag in off the highway? It's got that kind of serial killer like.
It looks ridiculous. It looks ridiculous.
No, literally, King TK, you should do.
Go ahead, King. Yeah,
you should have a woman over there.
You want to fucking say? Go ahead. Go ahead with this. I deserve it.
That totally looks like
I
a
like
horror
you,
movie.
TK. I like you a lot.
That looks like
Don't
totally
like
looks like
me.
a horror movie where the girl tries to like
That is
claw at the
fucking weird.
Yeah, no. My dad's right. It does. It looks like a horror movie. It looks like
It
horror
does,
movie
it does, it
scenery.
She wakes up.
Put the fucking camera back on that shit real quick. I'll explain.
POV, you're the drugged woman.
No, it's a fucking stump pump.
Yeah, she wakes up. She goes,
It's
"Wait
a
the
stump
fuck
pump that I'm
am
covering
I?"
up. I'm in the middle of remodeling some bullshit, motherfucker. And then
She's like, no windows.
No, I
all
covered
brick.
the
POV.
I covered the windows off.
You did cover the window.
That's terrifying. That is
And
terrifying.
then there's no noise in the
bedroom. There's the extra bedroom. It is ridiculously scary in there.
She hears the steps coming down.
See, Scott,
and your black
that's
ass
a bolt
walks
flex.
into the room.
I
she's
don't
like,
either,
oh
Shannon.
man, this is gonna be a rough
I don't
ride.
either.
It's gonna be fucking dicey.
But you know, can I?
Do you want me to tell you what he's saying here?
Nikhil, what I'm saying to you is, you can work with that. Don't
Do you want
change
me to
things.
translate this?
Because what do you mean?
Yeah, what's he saying?
Okay, so basically, yeah, it is kind of hard to follow, and honestly, I did my best to like edit this down so that the crosstalk and the stuff that was really unintelligible was cut out. Like it's really, especially when TK's there, it's hard to follow conversation. But basically, it starts off, the light went out in his basement, and Grace started laughing at that, and then TK's like, no, you guys don't understand. I'm just remodeling my basement. See, look, I've got all this work stuff here. I'm just remodeling. And Ben's like making all these jokes about how that's where you get waked up when you're POV, you're the drugged woman getting, this is how you wake up as the drugged woman. And they're talking about how this is like the perfect serial killer, like dungeon to keep women in, is what all these jokes are. And then they're about to transition in a second here, talking about Ben's specific favorite serial killer, a guy named Leonard Lake. He has this list of rules for women that he had hanging on the wall in his kill shack in like his basement. He got found with like 20 dead bodies.
We'll see it. We'll see it. We'll see it next week.
Yeah,
We'll
but
let it play.
Go ahead.
Why would one?
It's a slow build up.
I just love that.
What are you?
Now,
True.
But let me tell you something.
What do we got to do, man? What do we got to do?
You might say, look, I'm looking for a bitch, and like I gotta make this nicer. I gotta fix the job I started here. Leave it exactly the way it is. But on the wall, what you need is, there's a guy named Leonard Lake. He was a serial killer. Okay,
Yeah.
He had a series of rules. He had little what do you call those things, like steel
They even
containers?
show you the laundry room. The laundry room is creepy.
No,
Go ahead.
but the bitches love it. They love it. But Grace, bring up when Leonard Lake, he
It was like, so far it's like some dark humor or whatever.
he was simplistic. Let's say, like he kept it real
Yeah.
with the bitches, and he had them locked in like steel containers. But he had only on the wall. He had a series of rules. And
I got him right here.
Crazy.
Yeah, here it is. So let's read these rules because I love this, because this was the first. He was the first red pill type nigga. He was the first red pill type nigga. He got it. He understood it. He understood what it.
I'll read them. Sorry, it's too blurry for you guys to actually see it when I upload them.
I'll read them because they're.
I like it. Like this guy is a prime example of a red pill, and he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
No, he
He's
is,
actually
though.
better than red pillars. He actually he's ultimate. He understood women. This guy understood bitches. All right. So this is on the wall. They were locked into a steel container. Okay, and you could say he captured them, but I mean, come on, they wanted to be there.
Rules. I must always be ready to service my master. I must be clean, brushed, and made up with my cell neat. I must never speak unless spoken to.
All right, wait a second. That sounds pretty good. Like that's pretty good advice for a woman. I mean,
Okay,
that's
wait.
basically the Catholic Church. Like would basically say that's what marriage is, right? Why would you want to be dirty? Why would you want to be?
No, I am dirty. This is fucking.
No, it looks better. It looks better down there now that he turned the light on.
It's a bear thing. This is an.
No, I like it because like that green paint that you started painting over there. When she wakes up, she's gonna be like, "This is crazy." Why would you just start with green? No, I'm telling you, you don't understand this, King TL. Bitch, if you advertise, like, come down here and like sell all your shit and erase yourself off the internet, and this is where you're gonna be saying you will have them lined up down the block, especially North Dakota, because it's bleak as fuck. It's like there ain't nowhere you can run. They know you can run, but you're gonna die out there. And that'll be even more.
They wanted to be there.
And you watch
Pause it real quick.
say that on the internet. You will get tons.
Okay, so
of
I hear
Pause
what
it
you're
real
saying,
quick.
man. Put the camera on me. Can we get it off that one eye?
Pause it for a sec.
So, Ben,
but then you could say like,
sorry, I was so captivated by Tommy.
Yes,
He's
it's
a
hypnotizing.
captivating gentleman, that is for sure.
Well, when you cut out all of the flim flam and all the ums and likes and uhs, like it really does become a hypnotic experience listening to what they're saying because it's so fucked up, like in its unadulterated form. But I wanted to point out a couple things for the audience. One, that list of rules. It is kind of hard to see here.
This is the only photo that when you Google it is just like super blurry too.
Yeah. I have.
Always be ready to service my master. I must be clean, brushed, and made up with my cell neat. I must never speak unless spoken to. Unless in bed, I must never look my master in the eye, but must keep my eyes downcast. I must never show my disrespect, either verbally or silent. I must never cross my arms or legs in front of my body or clench my fists, and, unless eating, must always keep my
lips parted.
Lips parted, yeah. I must be obedient completely and in all things. I must obey immediately and without question or comment. I must always be quiet when locked in my cell. I must remember and obey any additional rules told to me. I must understand that any disobedience, any pain, trouble, or annoyance caused by me to my master will be grounds for punishment. Okay, that's dark.
Now they're going to go over all of this, and I'm glad you were able to find a higher resolution version of that, because when they stream, oftentimes they don't stream in the best quality. And I didn't bother wasting any more of my hard drive space than I had to on logging them, so I saved it in kind of a lower resolution. So I'm glad you're able to find that. But if you could just go back to that for one more minute and just kind of zoom in on the without question or comment thing, because this will come up later. They're going to go over all these rules as this video goes on here. But Ava, could you bring that paper up one more time and just zoom in on the middle of it where it says without question or comment? I believe it's rule 5 or 6.
Yeah. Right before non-factor said, "Is this a LOLCOW contract?"
Wait, zoom in on that, because I
can't zoom anymore.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Well, it says it's supposed to say without question or comment, but it says wins out with an N accidentally typoed in there. And Ben will go on to explain how this typo is intentional as a way to gaslight the woman until you make her believe that 2 + 2 is 5 and that's how the word is supposed to be spelled. Just to give you an idea of the level of sociopathy we're about to get into here. But let it go back to the video. I just wanted to. I'm glad you pulled that up because it is hard for people to see on the screen.
Leonard Lake is a serial killer, but it's just like knowing all the context. Like Ben legitimately agrees with this shit. He's like, yeah, these are solid rules. Like you can see if you were here for the very beginning. It might sound crazy unless you saw the very beginning and all the emotional abuse that we showed. He legitimately gets triggered at these tiny little things. He thinks that Grace needs to anticipate his every need and do everything perfectly and not even just crossing her arms in a certain way. Or if her shoulders are slightly hunched too forward, that means that she's annoyed and he starts getting on her ass about it. It was such a huge problem for they've hunkered down. If you guys go and watch the old Naptown compilations, like I urge you to do that. But let's keep playing this.
Wait, just one other thing. If anybody just got here and you haven't watched who was saying the stuff we showed earlier, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, but like this is hard to believe what we're saying unless you've seen it. So don't comment unless you started watching the stream from the beginning and have already seen the evidence we've shown supporting what we're saying here.
Yeah, it's pretty
watch and learn.
I hear you, Ben. When you say these things, and you say them to every woman, right? So Ben, when you say that,
he got pissed when he yawned. He got pissed when she yawned. And there's another clip, and I had it saved, but I couldn't find it in the beginning. He got mad when she sneezed. He was like, there was a moment he was like, "You've been acting crazy all day, sneezing." It's funny because it's so insane. The fact that there's legitimate rage for that.
You're gonna make money.
Like it's so narcissistic and
you spit that shit and you're spitting it to me now, and I hear you. Yeah. So Ben, when it goes like that, are you saying that like I can really be something? Like can I be something? You know what I mean?
I think you could live stream the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? As you know, but you need like the kind of camera, like the jail cameras, and you need like all that jail shit so they can't break it, so it's real, and they get locked in. You know what I mean? You got to put a big.
You want to get locked in? If we did this, like where they got to stay in this basement with me.
Yeah,
we'll figure out what the fuck it is.
Yeah, and you have these rules. No, but King, you're too nice of a guy. You need to bring that OJ Riz, you know, that like pissed off, like athletic black man who's like a nice guy, but he's like gets overwhelmed with like Rory grade. Bitches love that.
So what we're gonna do here, Ben, is we're gonna get these bitches to come line up, right?
Yeah.
Bring them to North Dakota.
If you're gonna chain them up there, that wall needs to be a brick.
No chains. You don't need no chains because they can't get out anyway.
God.
Where are they gonna go?
God.
Oh my god.
No, but they're
When
gonna
we
pound on the
talk,
walls.
Scott.
They're gonna break the walls if it's fake. Like,
No,
it needs to
Scott,
be
you're not
real
understanding.
quick.
He lives in North Dakota. There's nowhere to run. It's all
They ain't nowhere to go.
snow.
It's like Alcatraz on land.
And
You
the
know what I
best
mean?
part
Like,
is,
go ahead, bitch.
it doesn't get too much back to where when they even walk outside, they go like this. Maybe I should just come back. Maybe I should just come back. We put Drake on. We put on that song. If you running too close, that song from Next. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We listen to music here.
Yeah, you have it like all crickets, like North Dakota ain't nobody here. And then all of a sudden you're like,
is this
come down, you're like, bitch,
darkness
we're
talking
going
to
to
you?
do some R&B
Is that
tonight.
darkness?
We're gonna have
And
a
you can
karaoke
use the
night."
music
Like,
to hide their
come on.
screaming.
Darkness,
Yes.
boys. See,
Dad, what do you think?
fucked up.
Scott says you can use the music to hide their screaming.
Do you really think that's what happened?
North Dakota, ain't nobody can hear nothing for miles.
Yeah.
That's what you say. Ain't nobody gonna hear your screams down here, bitch.
All right, King. How close is your closest neighbor?
No, listen. Am I on here?
Ain't nobody can hear
Now,
screams
listen,
down
look,
here,
I got a
bro.
home for wayward hosts, right?
Mhm.
And it's kind of fun, and you're like above ground and shit, and it's like, look, this
You
is,
might want to pause
kind of
right
like
here and talk about
a
this.
real opportunity to get yourself together and learn how to make me a cup of coffee and etc. But I think you should be like the kind of place where you go when somebody fails in like the above ground stuff, and we go like, you need a hard reset. We're sending you up to King TL in North Dakota.
A hard reset. I'm a hard reset. Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
man.
it's just going to be dark in there, and we got Leonard Lake for a while.
If any wayward hosts want to come to North
Can you
Dakota,
pause it real quick?
Until you realize
Can you
how
pause it?
serious the man is taking it.
Wait, so
This shit is funny as hell, and everybody is like getting into the joke and like music to hide the screaming, and it's hilarious and it's hilarious. And then you see how into the details Ben's getting and how he's like,
well,
no,
hang on, Noam, because I'm not sure if you even are aware of this based on the way you're reacting here. It might be new law for you, but while you were right to say that it started off sounding like a joke, it's not just that he's getting specific with a fantasy. The House for Wayward Hosts is a real thing where Ben has really tried to groom Zoomer girls into being part of his sex cult and has actually physically assaulted some young women as part of his House for Wayward Hosts experience. Ava, can you tell us something about this?
Yeah. I'm sure Gnome probably knows. But when I went to, I mean, I didn't even know it was under the I didn't know we were even doing the House for Wayward Hosts thing. There's a whole Shamu video on it, but
Yeah, to be fair, he didn't tell you about the name.
I'd initially met Grace, and she was like, "Oh, this is just a troll. Like, it's not serious. You should come visit me and be a streamer, Ava. Be a streamer. Be a streamer." And so I go out and I meet her and Ben, and within the first 5 minutes of meeting Ben, he yanked my hair incredibly hard after me saying no multiple times. He insisted, and I showed it in the very beginning, a clip of him admitting this.
And it wasn't even a bit on stream. He did this off stream.
No, it wasn't on stream. It was off stream.
It was not content. This was real life.
Yeah, real life. And he was like, Ava, we need to pair bond because it's weird that you're like this girl hanging out with my daughter and you're going to see me as her dad when you shouldn't see me as her dad. You should just see me as this
viral man with a penis.
Other guy with a penis because I have a penis. And why
you
do
shouldn't
we
be
all
afraid of my
act like we
penis.
don't have a penis? And so he's like, we need to establish some pair bonding here and do some like BDSM. Literally 5 minutes in a meeting. 5 minutes. And he makes me sit in the front seat, reaches over, pulls my hair after I'm like, no, I'm good. Yank. And even Grace was like, whoa, Dad, chill out, Dad. And he was like, and that caused some tension between them, her saying chill out because he hates when she speaks up against him. So it's, yeah.
In Ben's defense, though, the whole reason he did that was because Grace wound him up in the morning. That's what he tells everybody.
Yeah.
Grace really got me wound up because she was supposed to be the Ghislaine Maxwell to my Jeffrey Epstein, and she wasn't doing it right.
To let all the new people here know, Gnome has some of the darkest, deepest sarcasm. If it sounds like she's saying something totally messed up, like your brain isn't tripping, like she's being sarcastic.
And guys, like, also, I don't claim to be like a victim of that. I knew it was a possibility. I knew it was a possibility that Ben really was this dark, perverted person. I had family staying 20 minutes away, so I knew that I could like get away from him. So
And to be fair, he didn't invite you out for the house for wayward hoes. He started talking about this and using that term the very next day as a cope to describe what his plan had been all along. Like this was supposed to be some healthy thing, but he didn't tell you about this beforehand. He just pulled it out post hoc as justification.
But let's keep letting this play. Okay, so
I just want people to know that the real thing.
Okay, I want to get through this though.
Not the fancy.
Here we go.
Don't exist.
You're more like the remedial program. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that is a real thing. They think that, but what you're gonna find out is that we're gentlemen here. I put bitch into a trouble.
Yeah, we get clear expectations. All right, Grace, let's go back.
Hold up, what the fuck, Grace? Grace, let me talk. Damn.
All right, now we're gonna read the rest of the serial killer Leonard Lake's rules for the women that he kidnapped, and then we are going to move on to Jacinda interview to react to somebody who is the opposite of all of these rules. Second rule: I must never speak unless spoken
right
to.
there?
Unless in bed, I must never look my master in the
Wait, XP. You just let it play.
That was an important point, though, real quick. It was like she just briefly mentioned Jacinda's name, but like subtly, she's pointing out that everything they're saying here is directed at, even though they're not talking about her, this is all about people who aren't like Jacinda. Jacinda needs to be like this. This is literally, they're not just wasting time. This is literally their response to the accusations.
But must keep my eyes downcast. I must never show.
Let me rewind.
Is the opposite of all of these rules. Second rule: interview to react to somebody who is the opposite of all of these rules. Second rule: I must never speak unless spoken to. Unless in bed, I must never look my master in the eye, but must keep my eyes downcast. I must never show my disrespect.
That keeps him from being uppity. You know what I'm saying?
You just gotta
like stay in your place.
It's easy.
And you're good if you follow all these rules. Leonard let some of the learning go, and I think they were better for their time with Leonard. That's what I'm saying. But they get down in that basement, they just have this to look at, and not a lot. They're not going to watch
this to look at, ladies. What you're gonna have is that to look at and this to look at. We can do crazy things.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. We can do crazy things.
That's right.
Okay.
All
right. Number 3: I must never show my disrespect, either verbally or silent. That's key right there.
Now he really gets into the body language part, and this really understands bitches here how they manipulate, they subtly. All right, so go ahead.
I must never cross my arms or legs in front of my body or clench my fists, and unless eating, must always keep my lips parted.
He gets it. He understands. He's been through it. This was an added to it, right? Because it started, I never show my disrespect either person, and then he's like, oh, okay, now they're doing the crossing of the arms thing, and he's like, all right, we got to add to it. He had a dude that did it with him, an Asian guy.
Because they seem like they get like, what do they think these bitches do when they cross their arm? They think they fucking uppity.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're doing a cleavage move, right? Unless a bitch is doing a cleavage move, I don't need to see you cross the shit. Okay. I don't want to see you crossing nothing.
Well, it's their little way of saying like, all right, I'll give you the silent treatment. And Leonard's like, no, I'm gonna check that right away. You don't give me no silent treatment. You are quiet and respectful.
See how easy that happens?
Remember when Ben kept telling Grace to part her lips on stream?
All right, let's get to the next one, Grace. Let's get to the next
All right.
Keep going.
I must be obedient completely and in all things. I must obey immediately and without question or comment.
Yeah, no, I don't need the commentary. I don't need questions. And I like the fact that he put wins out, because I think he's saying like, all right, you're gonna bring up that N, that extra N. Like he puts that in there on purpose so they can say like, you misspelled that, and he's gonna let them know right at that point where we at. You know what I'm saying? So he leaves that there. Brilliant move by
Melissa. I don't know. This isn't me in the video that we're playing. It's me right here in the red hat.
Obey immediately and without question or comment. Not even like a positive comment. Like that sounds good. Like no.
Grace laughing at Ciro.
And I think that's brilliant. I'm gonna say like, you see right there, it says without question or comment. You know what I mean? It's very similar. Ruby, these are the rules of Leonard Lake. He is known as like a quote unquote serial killer, but I think he's really one of the great feminists, maybe the greatest feminist of our time, because he understands bitches and what they want. And what they want is this from a man. They want clarity, expectations, and not a lot of extra talk. They don't want Dr. Bill. They want Leonard, Dr. Leonard.
He was a particularly interesting one because he and this Asian guy kidnapped a bunch of women, held them hostage in storage containers. And then I think they found them because they buried the bodies in their backyard, and eventually somebody dug them up.
But he didn't kill them all. Like some of them, he let them go. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is all Leonard, I think.
All right.
Next.
Thank you.
I must always be quiet when locked in my cell.
That is absolutely a great idea, right? No yelling, no screaming, no like, oh, I'm tearing shit up in here.
Okay, hold on. Can I say this? Have you ever watched a movie with somebody and they don't know how to fucking like, you bring it up and you're like this? Damn, was that a good movie? And they like this, and they just shut the fuck up. You want them to talk sometimes. Don't you want your bitch to talk a little?
Well, I think Leonard is saying.
One's in the chat. Okay, actually, I did understand that point from Tommy. I was about to say, what the fuck is he saying? I never understand what he's saying, but I get that. I actually got what he just said.
Oh, good question.
Speak when spoken to. There's no problem there. It's just saying, like, I'll go ahead and initiate the conversation. We're gonna have a great conversation. Just okay. When it's over, it's over. And I think women like that. It's like very clear, right? And she wants to keep talking, and you let her know, like, no, that's the conversation.
Like
over.
Ben is legitimately using this as like, it's like, yeah, like it's like he's reading Rollo Tomasi's book or something. He's like,
this is all normal, guys.
Yeah, like this chapter is good, man. Like, yeah, that's so right. Facts. Like, women should fuck up, and they should just stay in their cell and just stay there unless I need them.
Yeah, that makes sense. The amount of things Ben says, that doesn't make sense. But as soon as he reads the serial killer's rules for life, he's like, that makes perfect sense.
Over now. And I think I'm not even joking. I absolutely think the combination of that
I'm not even joking.
and these rules, you will have combination of that basement and these rules, you will have unreal interest.
No,
and I guarantee you the bitches that line up, and they will be lined up, will be fine bitches. They will not be fat, ugly, blue hair. They will be some beautiful women who just get it. They need a reset, and ain't no one gonna give it to them. They go to the psychotherapist, and the psychotherapist is like opposite of all this. Like, it's all about you, bitch. And you're saying it's not all about you, and they're gonna be like, that sounds great.
Is that Ben talking with the glasses in the darkness?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that was some other motherfucker, bro. I thought that. What?
Even with the comedic relief.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I need to read the last rule. I must remember and obey any additional rules told to me. See, he knows that. Yeah. I must understand that any disobedience, any pain, trouble, or annoyance caused by me to my master will be grounds for punishment. Grounds for punishment. Very liberal phrasing there. Not even just punishment. Grounds for punishment.
Yeah.
Oh, Melissa, you've never been here before? Oh, yeah, Melissa, this is a rabbit hole. If you want to watch from the beginning, it's a pretty good synopsis for newcomers. So, but I don't know if you're into this type of thing.
You are, bitch. And if there's extra rules, you're gonna have to learn them. Now, I can see a woman in a cell. How long before, like, she would just read these rules? It's very little, like just a plate of rice. You know what I'm saying? Just like the basics. I would say a couple of weeks in, she would mostly just. I think most bitches wouldn't even read the rules. You know what I'm saying? Then they'd come to see the rules. Eventually, they would learn to love those rules. They would say, like, this is my salvation as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. Finally, someone speaking facts. You don't need to tell them the entire heritage of the Western world. You don't need to go through theology, philosophy. Let's just keep it to this. And they could meditate on this and get the layers of it and the nuances of it and start. Initially, they'd say, like, this seems like something's being taken away from me. But eventually, they'd say, Leonard is giving me a great gift here, which is to own my femininity. Just get it simpler because it's too complicated with the feminism and the like decorate. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much going on. What am I supposed to do? They need it simple. They need a simple reset. Just a few days in TK's basement could do a lot of women a world of good.
It would. But
just a few days in TK's basement could do a lot of women a world of good. Now, I think anybody who's new to this and seeing that would again be like, oh, he's fucking kidding. But like that's literally what he was saying about the house for wayward hoes, like his concept of bringing women over to him and being like,
yeah. And just to be clear, TK wouldn't hurt any. Like, this isn't about TK actually having a basement full of anything. I think everybody.
No, TK doesn't realize. TK had just met Ben when the stream happened. He didn't know about Ben yet. So he's just playing along thinking that it's a bit, but like that's why I wanted Ava to talk about her experience with it, to point out that the House for Wayward Hoes isn't some like fantasy idea he has. This is something that he has tried with multiple women. He keeps trying to get Grace to recruit girls, and that's why he says he wants her to be his Ghislaine Maxwell so he can be Epstein.
Yeah.
This is real life. He has done this to women. And like
Baked Super Nick says XP is the one responsible for the attempted cinematography and TISM scrolling zooms. Someone rocked PowerPoint back in the day.
I've noticed Basic Aiden in the chat telling me that I need to take another bite of my sandwich because I have been on a 5-hour stream and I was eating one bite of chicken. So I appreciate I do this for the fans and especially for the haters, Basic. Shout out to you for
I'm too rough. Okay. I'm too rough.
Okay.
Part two will start in a second here. Eventually they'll get to the Jacinda interview, maybe.
So do you guys want to stay on to review the Jacinda interview? We got through the Leonard Lake rules.
Finally, we're 25 minutes into an edited stream.
We're actually like 50 minutes
titled
into it,
Jacinda interview review. Okay.
50 minutes in real life.
Can you imagine, guys, if you clicked on my stream and it was titled The Truth About Keemstar's New LOLCOW Queen, and you click on my stream This is my LOLCOW hat, by the way. I'm wearing this for the occasion. And you come here, and I'm talking about like fitness or just literally anything except for the stream. And you're in the title of the stream and the thumbnail. And then you're in the chat and you're like, Ava, will you talk about it? Like, talk about what you said you were going to talk about. And I'm like, and I literally say, fuck you. I need to stop being a people pleaser to you guys and go and have a talk with my dad. And he's like, you need to start saying fuck you to the haters more and just do your own thing and not abide to the pressure. And I just am doing whatever I want and ignoring my fans and the reason why they clicked on this video. So yeah, this is like 25 edited minutes. So really it's like an hour. She finally gets into it. Allegedly.
Sure. There has been what we call a pay pig rebellion, but CL and Scott have both emerged as like generous speakers. Now, the term
Link in the chat again.
but I would
Another
like
LOLCOW queen.
what's that word when black people take the N-word and they make it like their own?
Oh, Links, here we go. Links! Links, you missed all the fucking Links. You have to rewatch this from the beginning. Watch it on 2x speed if you have to, but you have to watch it.
Yeah, or at least rewind the last like half an hour to catch up from that point, and then catch the rest later. Because like, it got good about half. I mean, it's been good, but it got really hot about half.
You have a more Links is one of the other hosts on the LOLCOW show. You have a moral obligation to learn about this. Okay, we did a whole. Look at my Google Doc. Look at my Google Doc. Okay.
You need to prepare yourself, Links, and everyone.
My Google Doc.
Community, defend yourself from these people.
I did this for you, Links. Okay, here we go.
Porch monkey. Oh, you were so.
Yeah, you got to rewatch it.
Now, I think I would like to explore with you guys.
Cucking Jacinda content. I got to jump for a bit, and I love cucking Jacinda right now because I know there must be a reason why you're not doing it, Mama. If you're the baddest bitch.
He says there must be a reason why you're not doing it, Mama.
I'm glad you caught that. That was so subtle. I was afraid it wasn't going to get caught.
Even Tommy King, guys.
Yeah.
It's confusing, man. He understands.
Bro, you better. He didn't even like do any of the fucking.
You're so right, King. Anyways, nice to see you. Have a great night. Love you.
Yeah,
my King, I love you. All right, I got some ideas for the pay pigs.
Better than LOLCOWlive's content. Wouldn't we get all the viewers coming over?
Yeah, they also talk some more shit about
LOLCOWlive. We can just bring us on. That's the thing that Keem has over at LOLCOWlive.
If our content is better than LOLCOWlive's content, wouldn't we get all the viewers coming over to us? And then that would make Keemstar have to up his game.
Yeah.
Because I think some people say like, oh, it's perfect. I love it. 3 fat losers constantly like talking about like their like the glory days, the old days, and not bringing anything fresh except more fat losers who are middle age and used to be big on the internet. Hey, boom, right?
Yeah,
it's like up your game. Yeah. We're in 2024. It's a new game. Just being fat is not that interesting. We're all fat now. We're all fat now. We're all fat now. We're all fat now.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think we could do a much better show. Ava's a great LOLCOW. Dalmatian is a great LOLCOW. Hormax.
What about
I mean, we really create. Jacinda
comes on. You know what I'm saying?
Jacinda.
You don't even have to like prime her. You just say like, all right, go on, and it's just like LOLCOW content. Speaking of which, let's roll it.
All right.
Finally, guys, I hope that you're well prepared, that you're nice and lubed up. Okay.
We might actually be getting to
you've been waiting with your fucking dick in your hand.
We may actually have to give context about what we're even waiting for at this point.
Well, let's wait and make sure they do it. Let's not sell them too short here. Maybe they're gonna fuck up again.
Wait, 20. Oh my god.
Let's find out.
Now I'm starting to actually become a fan of the show. All right, here we go. Here's the beginning of the Jacinda interview. They're finally going to play it. Let's see if they actually react to it, though.
Let's get this thing going.
So I actually have to be
LOLCOW.
And if you're just tuning in, Jacinda is their neighbor, that they ended up getting in a giant beef with and slandering on the internet. So it's their neighbor who reached out to me to do an interview about the Thorps.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Scott. Thanks for coming up. I'll take some of those pay pig ideas. I think a pay pig only stream could actually be
not
be
a
really
pay pig
good.
only stream, but like whenever we show up and be like, we can get on whenever we want, if that makes sense. So everyone has viewers.
Yes.
Who pay pigs can get on.
Yeah. We'll see you next time, Scott.
I believe.
Have a good one. Adios. LMAO Scott, that is kind of based. No, I fuck with it. All right. Yikes, you fumbled 2 pigs, mama.
No,
See, this is when the pay pigs start getting uppity. I'm not about it. I'm not here for it.
Well, but I think you have to understand the psychology of the Thorp pay pig.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a dominant going on. Like that's
It's about to 2x speed itself, so you might want to slow it back down.
They like the kind of humiliation.
Yeah, yeah.
But then sometimes you get like uppity and leave. But that's just the way it goes. It's like you milk them, they oink, they're in the sty, and then they like jump to another sty to go humiliate themselves somewhere else. And
because they're off on another tangent here. Folks. They live. They're not about to start to get more.
You know what I'm saying? I don't really know how it works, but it's like not a. It's not a
talking
thing
about
like,
anything but the allegations that been to a 2-year-old child.
Click on, you pay your, but
pay the money or don't. I don't believe that.
Everybody should have full access to it.
This is interesting insight though into how they abuse the people that send the money. They talk a lot about some weird stuff here.
And you can say like,
I think it will certainly count for you. The people who would be into us, the people who pay pig for us, like there's some people are like, okay, like I think these guys are funny. I'll just send them in sometime.
Today,
did you skip over the religious cult thing?
I ain't got time for this.
Yeah.
And then he's got
that was the best part. You gotta let that play
to tell us all about how he's a pimp.
I know that religious cult is such an
himself
important line though.
For a while, but always be saying like,
"Here we
you
go."
Lost me, right? You see what I'm saying? Like it becomes a pattern.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, I always feel bad because I always feel like they're hurt by the way we treat them, but like it's kind of what they're here for.
Well, but
that's
they're talking about black people here,
look,
by the way.
Jacinda's actually in a good place if she says like, I really didn't like having those people.
Now they're finally talking about Jacinda, who's the neighbor.
Was neighbors. Why did she reach out to Ava? Right? Because
yes, right. She's
wants,
a LOLCOW.
She wants her lol titties milked.
Yes.
Jacinda only exposed us because she wants us to humiliate her. Ben Thorp.
All over this stream. And she's got nothing to worry about legally because, like, you can't sue someone like her. There ain't nothing there to sue. You ain't never gonna, it's never gonna be worth your time in court. But she did set us up perfectly for the suit with Ron because she's making the case without knowing it, like the absolute case that, like, yeah, this is a neighbor who no one on earth could possibly find a way to live with.
I know, right?
So that's the Thorp side. That's their little rebuttal.
She put her own father in jail.
Yeah.
And then look, see, Ben says here, and I said this earlier, that Jacinda actually had her own experience with the dad who sexually abused her that she talked about in the interview. And she ended up being able to send him to jail for that, which is amazing. I'm very happy that she was able to do that. And then Ben tries to use that against her as if that's to like defame her character.
Anyone under any circumstances. She put her own father in jail.
He's like, oh, she put her own dad in jail as if she was the bad one. He doesn't have any empathy for that kind of situation. I wonder why.
For like decades. And I don't know the story there, but like
he does know the story there. He does know.
Yeah, he knows the story.
For like decades. And I don't know the story there, but like
nobody goes to jail for decades unless they fucking deserve it these days.
You want to talk about daddy issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a mess.
But she's interesting. Her content is good. The milk runneth. The cream right. Got to be kidding me.
He thinks this is content for him to like talk shit about how he wants to fuck her 2-year-old child and then humiliate her for complaining about it.
Yeah, I thought this was what we were gonna do.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Finally.
Do you mind if I really want a cigarette. I'm gonna play the intro and I'm just gonna let it run for a second. I'm gonna come down and have a cigarette with you. If that's okay.
With me?
Well, yeah, because you have the cigarettes.
I like how he doesn't want to spend time with her.
All right, yeah, there's a light on in here too.
With me?
Okay, yeah.
All right,
let this play
fine.
for a second, and I'll come back up and we'll start reviewing it. So I'll just
Speaking of Grace having a cigarette in the past makes me want to have a cigarette in the present day. So I'll be back. I'm gonna let this play because it's my content. So
Yeah, you did the interview.
You won't get copyright struck. It's my content. I'm gonna let this play for you guys. Let's make sure it's on normal. Oops. What is it? Here we go.
Play for a sec, and I'll come back up and we'll start reviewing it. So I'll just let this play for a sec, and I'll come back up and we'll start reviewing it.
who looks like a girl. I literally asked them, is Grace, when I first met them, I thought Grace was Ben's girlfriend. I tried somebody who really didn't want to be part of your little incest life. When I know you in real life and know you're really fucking your daughter. I know you in real life and see you in my driveway slapping your daughter's ass when she's in a bikini. That's fucking disturbing. You know how embarrassing it is to go up there and see a whole bunch of fucking random people know some sexual comment was made about my baby? And it's weird for me to be in Target with a 21-year-old girl, and her main concern is if her dad's gonna like the outfit she puts on. That's fucking disgusting. My kids didn't play outside that whole summer after that. This is the first summer my kids was able to play because the Thorps ain't here. That's sad. That's are putting up weird shit about me and putting my information in docs. I don't even know what the fuck doxing is. Do you know how fucking weird that is? To know that you're living your life completely and you don't know who's watching you or nothing, but now you literally have to know that your address, your name, your kids' names. My son goes to school by himself. And at the end of the day, you met your match by being my neighbor and crossing me when all you had to do was play accordingly and not put my daughter on there. You could have been living your life. You could have been doing whatever you wanted to do freely. But now, here's a hand witness of things that your daughter literally said, and I could put my hand under a fucking oath. I would take a lie detector test on anything. Grace and her dad have sexual relationship going on, and that's why I said in a text message. That's why I say it to Grace, and that's why I say it over and over and over again. My daughter's not a part of that.
We'll just start with it. So the first one is just to give a little bit of pretext of the situation. What was it like being a neighbor to Ben and Grace?
I was a neighbor to Tommy, Charlie, and John up into about maybe a year ago, and I wouldn't even say a full year, but up until about last June when they came and decided to kick the boys out. That's when I became neighbors to Grace and Ben when they got evicted from Warwick.
Okay, so when do you feel like you noticed that there was something off?
Well, so let me just, it's from the beginning. So I'm just gonna just say how I know them. So obviously they're my neighbors. When they first moved here, Ben just rubbed me very, very much so the wrong way. So I've never communicated with Ben. I made that very aware to Grace that I'm just gonna say something. My background, I grew up in the system. My father, I just have a background, so I perceive things and I see warning signs that just are not okay. And for instance, Ben was slapping Gracie's ass in the driveway while she had a bathing suit on. And I thought that was pretty weird because 1, you're my neighbors, 2, that's your daughter. That's pretty disgusting. You shaved your whole entire beard for your daughter. It was weird. So I had made it very clear to Gracie, because that's who I communicated with, that I don't trust her father, that he's a pervert. He's weird, period. And that was that. So they lived in Warwick, and the boys, the minor boys, lived next door with John. It got to a point where there was no adults over there. So I cook for my kids who I have full custody of. So I cooked for the boys next door. I never asked for reimbursement. I never asked for any payment. I never contacted the parents, nothing. I made them birthday cakes. I just, as a neighbor, because them boys were young adults, they're teenagers, and I cared for them, like, as neighbors.
Sorry to cut. I just wanted to validate that. Yeah, like it seemed like you were a really good neighbor. I was like just looking through kind of old archives and stuff, and somebody sent me Grace like posted something on her YouTube. It said Jacinda also cleaned my brother's room with him and left him a note. What have I done to deserve this woman?
Not only did I clean the brother's room, I wrote that because I went over there and I cleaned tried to clean their apartment, and let's just never mind the kitchen that had a colony of molds and organisms in their dishes. Okay. So let's backtrack. I started talking to Grace because, again, for as long as these kids lived here, it was the boys.
Yeah.
Tommy, Charlie, and John. An incident happened where our walls are paper thin.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard John, who had the cast on, repeatedly asking Gracie and Ben to leave him alone, stop bothering me, you're antagonizing me, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. And Gracie, her little antagonizing ass, gonna say no, and then call the cops. And he gets arrested for it. I didn't make a statement because, you know, as a neighbor, I mind my business at that point. You know, I didn't want to get in the middle of it. But they antagonized him. He ended up getting arrested for it. I ended up talking to Grace and, at this point, Grace and Ben, because, you know, John had to leave here. So now here comes the adults. They gave me this whole story about how Courtney got up and left. She wanted nothing to do with the kids anymore. And I kind of like the story they gave me on Courtney. I kind of just like told her, like I told them, like I told Maggie, is like, I think it's wrong as a mother. You should never leave your kids, especially to a weirdo like Ben. You should never leave your kids to a weirdo like Ben. And it kind of like they took it as like, you know, like they do everything. And they went and told Courtney that I was against her when in all reality, I'm not against her at all. But that was that.
Relax, guys. I'm not just playing the video. I told you I was fucking going out for smoke, okay? Oh, there we go. Dad, let me bring you back up. I'm not just playing the video, okay? She's not going to copyright strike. She said it was fine to react. Dad, you're on stream. Dad, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, okay.
Okay,
You want me to...
am I here now?
So, yeah, they obviously don't want to respond to any of the allegations, which is just weird because if it was all untrue, why wouldn't they just want to, you know, nip it in the bud, respond to it?
Well, we know that it's completely true, but then the question is asked, why not try and at least come up with some kind of cope? And like, they can't even come up with a cope is the answer. Like, they know that there's absolutely no way to defend or hide from this other than to literally hide from it. And you'll see how this ends in a rage quit here in a few minutes, folks, because they're not going to respond to shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, let's see. I'm going to get a whiteboard. Why are you out of breath? Because I ran upstairs because I got worried about the copyright thing. I'm not just playing it, I'm reviewing it.
So
I'm
far,
not
they've
just playing
spent
it, I'm reviewing it.
15 minutes being
not
racist.
just playing it, I'm reviewing it. I'm not just playing it, I'm reviewing it.
15 minutes being racist, 25 minutes talking about serial killers and abusing, just sitting with their side comments. 15 minutes talking about their pay pick grip. 15 minutes on random hangings. Only 5 minutes watching.
What do you think? I'm going to send the StreamYard link out because I assume
Now,
people
here's where
have
the problem.
seen this before. If anybody has any questions about the interview
I don't know
itself,
about that. Like, some people have, some people haven't. I mean, it doesn't. She hasn't gotten that many views on it. The way I see this working is because, like,
When hard facts are present,
if
are
people want
present,
to
they always
come up
run and deflect.
for a little bit and just sort of like be like, "What's up with that? What did she mean by that?"
Yeah.
And because I think a third party would make sense here, because I think because we were in the situation, we might not understand how someone from outside would perceive what's up here. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And not really from chat. Like it just we're gonna have to overcome like the antisocial tendencies. You could say stuff in chat, but go ahead, come up, be a representative of chat.
Okay.
It's just and you're free to say whatever, but like with an inquisitive mind, not really so much like that you're taking sides, but just like, you know, for clarification. So
He said that in the
what I'm
longest way
saying
possible. No, you
Ava
can't
didn't really
come up
understand
and you're going to ask
voicing
real
her. You can
questions.
see she's just like mostly nodding. She doesn't care as long as it sounds negative, which is fine. That's actually, she provides, she's like in a sense like this is the most softball interview you could ever imagine, because it's all kinds of incomprehensible things that she's doing, including committing the crime that she said we committed, which is like using her child's name and talking about her children constantly.
Right.
So it's hilarious in that sense. It's ultra lolcowish. But you know, so the situation, maybe, I don't know if you want to whiteboard it. The overall situation was you and I escaped from the nightmare situation in Warwick. We ended up with getting two places. The basement place we were in, and then John moved into the upstairs place. That didn't happen at the same time, right?
Yeah, no, not at the same time. I believe
that
in like
upstairs place became available, and Ron suggested it, and we thought it would be great to get John over there because he was turning 18. I wanted him out of his mother's. It was gonna like eventually like the idea was like let's pull them out of there, away from their mother because she's crazy. And give them a kind of haven.
Yeah, right.
Without it necessarily being like with us too. They have a little bit of independence. It was kind of like like older teenage boy, like kind of transitioning from like a crazy household and getting on their feet again.
Right. That was the idea. And then in so this was in 2022, I think. And then in 2023, Mom came back from her abandonment thing and asked for kids to live with her. Well, hold on. Actually, January of 2023, John moved out of the apartment. Right? And then June of 2023, Mom came back from her abandonment thing and asked for the kids to live with her. So Grace,
I'm not saying it's a big deal, Grace, but like there are like internet tools that can are like timelines. You know what I'm saying? Like visually, like I'm into like presentation of information as like an art form, and like visually, like I'm into
Time for
like
another
presentation of
tangent.
information as like an art form. Like, there are like internet tools that can are like timelines. You know what I'm saying? Like visually, like I'm into like presentation of information as like an art form. But like I don't know.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me see. I know that I can do like on Canva. Let me just pull this up. Let's see here. Canva. Let me see. One sec.
The art project distraction.
Yeah, so let's see, customize this. Yeah, so I was thinking like I could do something like this just because of I don't have like an exact tool for it right now, but this is sort of a timeline I could work on just to show people what happened. Something like this. Does that make sense? I don't know.
I don't want to get into the weeds of different apps because I just think that's your lane.
Yeah.
But like, and I don't really think that's the main content here. I'm just saying, it's a tip. So I just want to say, it's like, it's I think for someone who wants to be an attorney and a politician,
Damn.
presentation of information is a
Even a doubter. Jana's been, doubting a little bit. Oh, we got lolcowlive. Is that the real lolcowlive in the chat? Or is that a fake one? I'll put the panel link for you there. If that's the real lolcowlive.
great art form, and those people in Congress, and they have those foam mounted little like printouts. Like it's very effective. And it doesn't have to be super. It doesn't have to be super.
What?
But I was thinking.
What happened?
The chat is going, hey, come on, let's get through this, right? Okay, and it's like I remember as a teacher, the kids would sometimes be like, this is taking too long, and yet like there was no real curriculum that I had to get through. I mean,
now,
there was, but like I think
anybody that's
right?
just
And no one else did either
tuning
because
in,
it's religion class, like
including lolcowlive. This is what they're avoiding answering to here. This is the whole point of us reacting to their reaction to my interview, is the fact that they didn't actually react.
Who looks like a girl. I literally asked them, is Grace, when I first met them, I thought Grace was Ben's girlfriend. You had somebody who really didn't want to be part of your little incest life. When I know you in real life and know you're really fucking your daughter. I know you in real life and see you in my driveway slapping your daughter's ass when she's in a bikini. That's fucking disturbing. You know how embarrassing it is to go up there and see a whole bunch of fucking random people know some sexual comment was made about my baby? And it's weird for me to be in Target with a 21-year-old girl, and her main concern is if her dad's gonna like the outfit she puts on. That's fucking disgusting. My kids didn't play outside that whole summer after that. This is the first summer my kids was able to play because the Thorps ain't here. That's sad. That's are putting up weird shit about me and putting my information in docs. I don't even know what the fuck doxing is. Do you know how fucking weird that is? to know that you're living your life completely and you don't know who's watching you or nothing, but now you literally have to know that your address, your name, your kids' names. My son goes to school by himself. And at the end of the day, you met your match by being my neighbor. And
so yeah, that's what we're reacting to, them completely dodging reacting to this. I strongly urge you to watch the beginning of the stream. The first hour would be enough to see all
We
the
went
abuse.
through all of Ben's pedophilic comments, all of the racist comments from both him and Grace, all of the times that Ben abused Grace, both physically and emotionally, and the ways in which he does that. And we went through a whole ton of stuff.
And not just the Ben stuff, but all this shows how Grace has been brainwashed by her father over the past several years, to the point where we showed the clips of her saying things like, pretty soon I'm going to be too old for my dad. My little sister, who at this point is not legal yet, at some point my little sister will have to take over my spot, and women need to be held accountable. So I will take responsibility for getting fat when I'm old and fat. And it's just a natural way of things when my little kid sister becomes my dad's next victim. And talking about how she wants to be Ghislaine Maxwell so her dad can be Jeffrey Epstein, and how they want to be Jordan and Michaela Peterson, if they can't be Epstein and Maxwell.
Yeah, and just the way that they will inevitably slander anybody that they collaborate with.
So it's not just
that. Grace being part of LOLCowqueens means that Ben is going to be part of LOLCowqueens. His ideas will be
And even if you keep him out physically, like everything that Grace says, she's never had an original thought of her own. She's completely brainwashed by Ben. Everything she says is at his direction.
Yeah, it is a seriously abusive situation. And there is also a clip of, there's multiple clips of them talking shit about Keemstar specifically.
Yeah. Talking about how he's fat and old, how they're going to steal his audience and take over his whole spot and get him retired so they can be the new Keemstar. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the beginning. Watch all of it. Check out the other channels that have other stuff. Naptown, All for Nothing Analysis, Shamu. We're just showing people the tip of the iceberg here so they can start their research, because it's a lot to dig into. And they've deleted most of it from the channel.
Yep.
It's worth a watch because it shows that it's not a bit. This is a really abusive dynamic, and this abuse is going to continue until lolcowqueens. So, good luck.
Good luck.
No one cares about trade.
Bad liability to put in your business.
But sometimes, even though they knew that was the case, there is a kind of, let's say, antisocial tendency for people who are in an audience to say, like, this isn't happening fast enough, or you're not getting through the material, as if, you know what I mean? As if, like, we owe it to them to finish the Descenda thing, because they're kind of autistic. They're like, I need to finish this. I need to have it completed. You can't do this to me. And it's like, I really think you can learn from
he wants to dodge the part where he talks about Jacinda's 10-month-old baby being his girlfriend and Grace laughing about it and him wanting to be alone in the room with her baby. He said, yep, no, let's skip this.
He's like, I'm going to do this at my pace. And if you people will come on and say, like, oh, you should react to this. And he's like, no, I'm doing a 7-part Terrificon thing. And like, when I get through it, and I do it at weird hours. But this is our show. And if you want to tell us how to do our show, then we're going to say, go do your own show. Right? Like, you're here because you think we're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? But you've got this thing like, okay, like, I have to please people. And maybe it's a feminine thing. But I think it's good for you to understand, like, nah, that's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
It's like, we can roll how we want to roll, and they can suck a dick and cry somewhere else.
Yes.
But you can cry in chat. It doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're here for us and what we want to do. We're not here for you. You're here for us and what we want to do. We're not here for you. You're here for us and what we want to do. We're not here for you.
Like, you can bitch and complain, but like, I think you can, like, I don't think it matters if people are bitching and complaining in chat. I don't think you should respond to it. They're like losers who are on the internet trying to get attention on a live stream, who've been kicked out of every other live stream imaginable. And it's like,
most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So like, we're not here to say, like, oh, well, you're a normal group of people. And they don't want that. They want to be told to shut the fuck up and stop acting like babies.
Yes. Right.
But your thing is like, oh, I better do what they say because I'm afraid they're going to attack me or whatever. But our brand is saying, like, nah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's basically the gist of it, guys. We're at the end of the stream here. We've covered everything in this Google Doc. We've covered everything from how they came to be, the emotional abuse, the fact that we're addressing the new LOLCOW LOLCOWlive audience on the history of these people. The domestic violence compilation of both Ben and Grace committing domestic violence. The way that they have slandered and tried to ruin every single person that they've ever collabed with. The testimony of the son on the incest stuff. More evidence of weird sexual stuff. The saga of Grace's ex-friend getting ostracized for calling out the abuse. And then we went on to all the shit that they talked about Keemstar, about Milo, Andrew Wilson, Ethan Ralph, etc. The way that Ben is trying to get custody of his young underage daughter.
And all of his kids,
crazy
by the way, who he
And
had
all
a restraining order, who had a restraining order against him until I think 2 days ago. It was active.
Yep, we covered all of that. All of the creepy stuff he said about 14-year-old girls. The creepy stuff Grace said about her younger sister. This stuff, which I don't even want to read out loud. The Jacinda interview. Ben talking about what it says on the screen. The way that they scammed their fans on the Fresh and Fit thing. And the way that Ben bragged about how he hypothetically completely groomed and manipulated Grace into essing his D whenever he wanted. So, LOLCOWlive, if you're still watching, there's a lot to get into here. And
one more thing, you should, now that Keemstar, you should play just that 10-second clip one more time of Grace talking about her 14-year-old sister replacing her.
You'll rewind and you'll see, guys. I do want to end it here. We've been going for 3 hours and 34 minutes, almost 3 hours 35 minutes. I'd say it was pretty swift, and we covered every point quickly and succinctly, but thoroughly enough for you to understand the context. I hope that this was an enjoyable viewing experience for you. I really tried to make it as digestible as possible for any newcomers without, losing the attention here. I know that Jacinda thing was the response was a bit long-winded and whatnot, but I really hope that you get the picture. And yes, I did put my Discord link in chat. I'll put it one more time if you want to join. We might be talking to Links after this, so let me just copy and paste that here. I highly, heavily recommend that you go and watch the Shamu documentaries. It's called The Darkest Family on YouTube, parts 1 and 2. Part 1 is Grace Thorp. And go check out his Twitter. Ava did her homework. Ava, you nerd. Thank you. Appreciate that. And if anything, they want people to watch and shit talk Grace. Yeah, maybe. But I just thought that I'd put this out here so the people can know. It's the only motive that I have. It's just to educate people. I don't know what would.
You're the lore master. Thank you for collecting all of these clips and streams and putting them together in a digestible format for everyone. Because I think that almost everyone that watches the Thorps knows how fucked up they are, but actually going through and collecting all of this stuff is a Herculean effort. So thank you for doing that for us.
Of course. Thank you. And yeah, I just appreciate these are, you think that they're just lol cows, but they're truly horror cows. There's a lot of illegal activity going on, grooming, abuse, and just literally burning down and ruining every person that comes in their path. So I didn't know any of this shit. Wow. Well, I'm glad anybody that came in here and is like, wow, I really didn't know this stuff. You should like that. Those comments mean the most to me. So I appreciate it. Thank you, XP, for doing that edit and contributing. Thank you, Gnome. I always appreciate you guys coming up in the commentary that you add.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Glad to be able to help try and get this shit shut down.
Yeah. So good job, everybody. Peace out. Have a good night.